Live. Welcome in, everybody. Pugs Moran here for another day of... How's the mic? The mic needs to be up a little bit more. There we go. Coming in hot. Another day of hot topics and current events conversation with a lively chat room every day around about the noon o'clock. Live. Welcome in, everybody. Pugs Moran here for another day of... How's the mic? The mic needs to be up a little bit more. I sound like... Coming in hot. Another day of hot topics. All right, I sound exactly like the asshole I think I am. All right, there we were. Had the YouTube page open. That ain't good, but we'll work past it. Every day we gather here and we talk about the world as it unfolds in front of our very eyes. We don't bring any partisan lens to it. I think that both Republicans and Democrats are crap. I think that people who are far right are assholes, and people who are far left are also assholes. This show is for those of us in the middle, just regular people. You know, my kid yesterday, we're driving, my kid's in town. I've told you about that. Did I mention the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios and RadioMisfits.com? I should. I want to get those out of the way. So my kid's spending the summer with me, and we, after the show yesterday, we went running around because why not? It was, afternoon, and I actually had a 4 o'clock thing that fell through. So I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? So I decided to take him into the old neighborhood, which is something fun for, old people to do with their children. So I took him to the old neighborhood and we went to dinner at a place called Rosangela's. Rosie's, for those of us in the hood. We went to Rosie's. Rosie's is an amazing, amazing pizza place. But really what their claim to fame is their spin on Italian sandwiches, like Italian beefs and Italian meatball. I had a meatball beef combo. Fantastic. We went there. Then after that, we went to Rainbow Cone, which is a Chicago Southside specific ice cream parlor where you can only get one kind. I'll give you one kind of ice cream. It's their kind of ice cream. It's rainbow, and it's like 50 different flavors. And if you don't like it, go to Baskin Robbins. This is special here. So we were driving around the south side of Chicago, took up through the old neighborhood, had some food, had some dessert at Rainbow Cone, and then we were back here to watch the Knicks-Spurs game. But while we were driving around, my son said to me, he goes, this is a problem with kids raised during the internet generation, right? So he gives me this test while we're driving. He's like, Dad, you say that you're politically neutral and that you say that you're a middle moderate, but take this test and I'll tell you exactly what you are. So he has this test, this online on his phone test, and he starts asking me 4 pages of questions. I'm not kidding you. This was about 45 minutes of us driving around, him saying, do you strongly agree, disagree, or strongly disagree with the following statement, right? It was like 4 pages of that. And it was really interesting because, we moved through it pretty quick. And at the end, he said that I am political. I mean, these are not just 3 questions. This was like 100 questions. And he's like, all right, you are middle left libertarian. And I'm like, what does that mean? And then he showed me on like the Venn diagram. And I'm like, right there in the middle. I am more libertarian than I am authoritarian, because it was authoritarian right, authoritarian left, libertarian right, libertarian left. And then it's a Venn diagram thing. You know what I mean? Anyway, I came up just left of center in the libertarian column, which I was happy about because I don't like libertarians, but I certainly don't like authoritarians. So he's like, wow, you really are kind of right in the middle. I go, yeah, I am. I am like every other normal American that I know. I am right in the middle. We haven't drank the Kool-Aid for one particular party over another, whatever. So that's why I do this show. Because talk radio doesn't exist for people like us. And yet I don't understand why, because we are all here. We are all essentially here. Some of us are crazy. We talk about the 15 on the right who are crazy and gone forever. Talk about the 15 on the left who are crazy and gone forever. This show is for the 70%, and we do it every day. And I was so happy to find out that I was center left. Now, back to my son being ruined by the internet generation. So once you establish who you are, like in this political test thing, once you establish who you are, then you can find out what other famous people you align politically with. And the person that I align most politically with, I can't feel bad about this. Fucking Gandhi. Gandhi is who I share most of my political and worldview with. Fucking Gandhi. To which I said to my son, well, nothing wrong with that. To which the kid born on the internet said, well, he was a pedophile. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He's a pedophile. He's like, he wrote about being a pedophile. I'm like, oh, God, nothing can be nice anymore. We can't have Gandhi. Gandhi's got to be a pedophile now. We can't have Mother Teresa. She's a bitch. Have you seen those reports? People for years since Mother Teresa has died have been writing books about what a bitch Mother Teresa was. Stop it. Stop it. We have to have, even if they're phony, even if they are fake and contrived, we must have these images of what we perceive to be moderate perfection. We have to have people to look up to. We don't need all of our idols to be demasked, unmasked. Leave it alone, internet. Jesus, now I'm walking around going, fucking Gandhi's a pedophile? My 17-year-old thinks Gandhi's a pedophile. That was his first response. Not like all the other shit. No, it was just, well, he's a pedophile. I'm like, that's honestly what you think of Gandhi first? Because what, you read it on Reddit? Yeah. We had a good time yesterday. We had a really good. He turned me on to a new show. I told you yesterday that this summer I'm making my son watch The West Wing, because I believe that everybody needs to learn civics. And since they aren't teaching civics in school anymore, the absolute best way to learn about what your role as a citizen is supposed to be is to watch The West Wing. They did an incredible job of what America is, what we're supposed to be, what we strive for, not what we fail to achieve and what we actually are, but what our aspirational goals are as a people and as a leader of the globe. So I'm making him watch West Wing. And he's liking it. He's not hating it. We're 4 episodes in, and he's like, I'll watch another one, which is a great sign. That's a great sign because you don't want it to be drudgery. He's enjoying it. Anyway, moving along. Because I make him watch a show, he's old enough now where we have to go tit for tat. So I got to watch one of his shows. So he is making me watch on Disney Plus, and we got 4 episodes into this last night. 3 episodes, 2.5. Yeah, it was 3. We stopped at 3. So 2.5 episodes into this last night. He's making me watch The Punisher. Do any of you guys watch The Punisher on Disney? It's one of the Marvel movies, but he's not a superhero. You know the story, The Punisher, Frank Castle, originally played by good friend of the Pugs and Kelly show, Thomas Jane. Told my son that. I go, I'm friends with Tom Jane. And he goes, who's that? And I go, he's the original Punisher, asshole, from the movies. And he's like, oh, I never saw those. Those were like before I was born. I'm like, yes, they were. He's very, very weird actor and very strange. Thomas Jane once pulled a gun. Literally, think about this. Think about this in 2026. Okay? Think about if during the internet era, we were able to throw this up on Twitter about celebrity Hollywood actor Thomas Jane. He pulled a gun on Eric, our producer and actor. He came into studio and Kelly and I were on remote. It was the rare situation where you have a celebrity that goes to the studio and not the remote. Okay. So we were on remote somewhere and Tom Jane was back in the studio at Live 105.3 with Eric. I believe this story is told on Live 105.3. It should be. It's another one of those good ones. So Tom Jane walks in and he sees Eric and he says, where's Pugs and Kelly? Because he had been a regular on our show. We had been, some deal with HBO. He was on a show called Hung. And we had him on every couple of months. Anyway, anytime they needed to promote something, he came on. And we had a great rapport with him. He thought we were fun. We hung out with him in LA. He wasn't even a guest scheduled when we were out in LA doing our Grammy shows. He just showed up to hang out. He's like, I'm here. I sit down and talk. And we're like, yeah. Anyway, Tom Jane is great. Tom Jane walks into the studio. Kelly and I are on remote. He says to Eric, where's Pugs and Kelly? And he goes, I'm sorry. They should have told you. You're going to be speaking to them. They're on remote at a bar in Fort Worth or whatever. And Tom Jane put his head down, reached into his waistband, pulled out a gun and pointed it at Eric. Yep. That's how it went down. And then he laughed and put it away. And it's like, okay. All right, Tom Jane. So The Punisher. So my kid's gotten me watching the Marvel series, The Punisher, starring John Bernthal, who, again, my kid, just any opportunity to mock my old ass. I go, who's in it? And he goes, John Bernthal. And I go, ooh, Shane from The Walking Dead. And he's like, oh, God. Seriously, Dad? And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you hear John Bernthal and you go all the way back to The Walking Dead? And I'm like, I'm old. It's where I first recognized him as Shane on The Walking Dead. He's dead. He's done so much other stuff. I'm like, whatever. So anyway, I watched it. Excellent show. Excellent show. And I can't believe I'd never seen it before. I can't believe, well, I'd seen it, but I've been like, God, that looks stupid. Man, it's dark and it's gritty and it's not capes and people flying or having superpowers. It is a Marvel movie, but it's just like it's about a regular guy who's just an ass kicker and he's fucking pissed. That's the Punisher right there. And that's fun to watch. It's also got Cousin Richie. If you like Cousin Richie from The Bear, Ebon Moss-Backrack. Anyway, so my son hit me to something, and I'm very, very excited to have a new show that I like to watch. Because you know me, I'm always looking for new shows to watch. The Punisher. We're watching The Punisher for him, and I'm enjoying it. And he's watching The West Wing for me, and he's enjoying that. And that's pretty good. So far, so good. I told you yesterday about when I picked him up at the airport on Saturday that we immediately had a huge fight because I was in the middle of arguing with a cop about whether or not I could or couldn't be parked there. And I told you that I made the choice in that moment because choices are really important to recognize that we have choices. Everything that we do, every way that we respond to a situation, we can instinctively respond, which is usually emotionally and probably not the best act, or we can take a beat, recognize there's a choice to be made, and then act accordingly. And that's what I did with the cop, because I'm a very angry guy. Like, I can lose my shit. And this is why I lean so hard into choice therapy. It's because I recognize that if left to my reflexes and my instinctive shit, I'll just scream at people. I'll just go off. And that's what I have this show for. I have this show to get all that out. So when I got into it with a cop while my kid was lost in the airport, I chose, to sort of sweet talk the cop. And instead of being like, "What? I was only here 5 minutes." And she's like, "You've been here 15. I'm going 5, right?" That's how you end up getting a $200 ticket. Instead, I took a more charming path. Oh, man, I'm so sorry, lady. I'm going to get out of here. Lady officer. It was a lady officer. I'm like, I'm going to get out of here, officer. Here he comes right here, right? I made a choice to not be instinctive and reflexive and think that I could argue with a cop. Can't argue with a cop. We've got a video later today that we're going to watch about somebody who does not know how to act in the moment with a cop. So we'll get to that. That, of course, spurred a bit of a fight between me and my son in the first 5 minutes of him coming here. I'm like, get in the car, right? That's it. It's not hug, love you, haven't seen you in a while. It's just get in the car. We got to get out of here. And he's like, what's going on? I'm like, get in the fucking car. Right? I reacted on him the way I wish I had reacted on her. And then he gets in the car and he's like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I'm like, nothing, buddy, nothing. And then he pouts. So he can't get over it. And then I have to tell him, I'm like, dude, right now, I am so sorry about that. That was a very stressful situation. I was on the verge of getting a $200 ticket because you didn't know the difference between arrivals and departures, right? So now I'm boiling again. And he's like, well, I've never been to this airport before. And I'm like, you got to follow the people when you get off the plane. That was the problem. I told you about it yesterday. You get off a plane, you follow everybody. They're going the same place. Surely one of them knows where the exits are. You follow the big herd of people to baggage, and then the arrivals exit. Nah, he didn't. He's smarter than everybody else. He decided to just go free balling. He's like, well, everybody's going this way. I'm going to go upstairs. I know better. Anyway, that was the reason for the fight. But we got over it. We had a really nice night Saturday night. I got to tell you, we haven't had any fights since, which I don't. I mean, my kid and I fight. We fight. We you little son of a bitch. You know what I mean? We really fight. Homer and Bart kind of shit. But no, it's been good. It's been really good. And I appreciate that. Knock on wood. We'll see. We'll see if anything happens today. I'm not going to let big fights happen. I'm not. He's here too long for us to have these fights right now. All right, let's say hi to the chat room. Every day we like to award a Formula One style podium celebration for the first 3 people in our chat room every day. Let's Ooh, excuse me. Boy, that wasn't good. Let's see who we got today. It's Barney, it's Al, and it's Adam. There you go. Barney, Al, and Adam. That's first, second, and third place. Welcome, folks. Barney's doing too much. He's doing too much heavy lifting because today we have a new title. We have a new category. Are you ready for this? I didn't do it yet. Hold on. I thought I fixed this. I didn't fix it. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Just give me a second here. Boy, this is a lot harder than I thought. Hold on. I'm doing something. I got to fix something here. Wow. I don't know how to spell that word. How do I not know how to spell that word? All right, here we go. All right. Today we have a new category. It is today's Pledge Week Heroes. That's right. And today's Pledge Week Heroes are... Say hi. No, not that one. Jesus, fuck me. Here we go. Peter and Barney, thank you guys. You were the 2 in yesterday. You tipped the show on Pledge Week. I really appreciate it. We're not calling it the executive producer. We're just thanking everybody who helps us get through another Pledge Week. Peter and Barney are first through the door. Well, Jen, hold on. Wait a second. I don't want to get this wrong. I want to make sure that everybody who gets us started on Pledge Week this month gets their credit and their due thanks. Tracy. It was oh my God, Tracy D. So thank you. Tracy D, Barney, and Peter are the guys for today. Tracy D was yesterday. Thank you, folks. Appreciate you. You've already got us started here on what we're calling Pledge Week. Okay. Let's see, what else do we need to do? Oh, I should probably do this. It is Pledge Week. So if you are so inclined, you want to help support this kind of talk radio, the kind of talk radio that doesn't tell you how to vote, doesn't care how you have vote. We just talk about the issues as they come across our plate, and we try to tackle each and every one with sophistication and intelligence. We don't just, we're going to just go with what they say. We don't do that around here. We just look at these things and go, that sounds stupid. That's what I'm going with. It's stupid. Got a lot we're going to talk about today. Let's see. Big news. Well, not big news, but serious news. We'll start out with some serious news. We had an incident with a military helicopter over there in the Strait of Hormuz. We'll talk about that. We'll give you an update on the Carmelo Anthony trial that is going on. We talked about it yesterday. It's happening in North Texas. Carmelo Anthony, 17-year-old at the time. Now he's 19. 17-year-old high school student stabbed Austin Metcalf to death, another 17-year-old high school student, while they gathered at a regional track meet. That's right. Kids from 2 different schools. They got into a little thing. One of them ended up dead. The guy who did the stabbing, Carmelo Anthony, has been on trial in North Texas now since last week. Man. Did you guys realize closing arguments are happening already? Did you guys realize that the prosecution took 2 days and the defense seems to have taken 2 days? This is an expedient trial. My God. So we'll get y'all up to date on that, what the arguments were, what the defense arguments were, and what people are saying today. The Carmelo Anthony trial update coming up today. Talk about the Knicks game last night. We'll factor in the Trump stuff. I mean, I don't know how much we're going to get into it. Okay, Trump went to the Knicks game. Trump got booed, but Trump didn't get booed enough, or Trump didn't get booed at all, or whatever. People, it depends on, who you follow on Twitter, I guess, to get the real... I watched it. I don't know. I don't know. We're not even going to listen to it because it's such a stupid, petty story. Did he get booed or not? I don't care. Anyway, he did fall asleep, though. That dude fell asleep at the Knicks game. He totally fell asleep. This is a problem. All right. So we'll touch on that. Also, we've got some final news regarding the mayoral campaign there in Los Angeles of Spencer Pratt. Bring you up to speed on that. The Artemis 3 crew. This is such a bummer. We were all excited about Artemis 2 just a couple of months ago. Artemis 2 was the first manned lunar orbiting mission that we had done since like the early 1970s. We were promised that Artemis 3 was going to land because remember, Artemis 2 went around it. Well, no, that ain't the case anymore. Artemis 3 is not going to land. Artemis 3 is going to do some other things. However, today they announced the crew for the Artemis 3. So we'll go through that. We'll see if it's a typical mix of United Colors of Benetton, where it's the people. We always create these crews of people who are like, well, they're not friends in real life. They don't hang around. A 62-year-old pilot and a 40-year-old Indian scientist and a 50-year-old. Are they old? They're pretty old. They're older. I'm giving them older ages because I remember thinking the astronauts were older than I thought they would be. Anyway, we'll get to know the new crew of the Artemis 3. They were announced today. Platner, right? This guy in Maine, we shouldn't care really about Maine senatorial politics, except that this is kind of an indicator of, what's up. This Graham Platner guy, he's, first of all, I'll save it. I got thoughts. He's embattled. Apparently he plays grab ass, claims he's got PTSD, got a Nazi tattoo that he says he didn't know was a Nazi tattoo. Whatever. We'll get into the whole Graham Platner situation. Cosplaying working class. I'm just saying. We got some video. We're going to break down some crazy video of fan reaction to the Knicks-Spurs game last night in Madison Square Garden. We'll break down the video and we'll just, we'll comment on the behavior of our fellow human rats because we just act like rats when we get in a group. We'll watch some videos there. We'll go through the celebs that were in attendance. There were some very interesting celebrities there gathered together, sitting courtside at the game last night. Good game, great game. We'll talk about that. Death Trilogy update. We got to give you a Death Trilogy update. The celebrities are dying like the old celebrities. Celebrities are dying, and I compile this list every year. I start on January 1st, and celebrities, as we know, die in threes. So I create the ultimate Death Trilogy for the year. Every time 3 celebrities die, we log it, and we put it in our little list. And that right now, I think we're up to 21 trilogies of celebrities who have died in 2026. We'll get you caught up on the most recent ones because there have been some ones that we haven't talked about. So we'll do that. We got a bunch of fun videos. As I mentioned, we got one video here that we're going to talk about. We're going to break it down. It's how not to behave with cops. Just come on, folks. Talk about that. And of course, Can't Beat Fun at the Old Ballpark and some other fun videos and stuff like that. I'll also tell you about 2 new documentaries that I am all about. Just in case you're like me and you enjoy documentaries. All right. Hold on. I need a drink of water. Say hi to the rest of the chat. Hey, what the hell just happened? Guys, hold on. Something stupid just happened. Hold on. All right, I think we're back. Sorry, folks. I think we're back. We are. All right, let's say hi to the rest of the chat room. As we said, our chat room podium today is Barney, Al, and Adam. Congratulations to those 3. Just missing the podium today, we've got April, Taronda, and Mikey D. Mike says for some reason, what's going on here, Mikey? Mikey says for some reason, I no longer get notified. Yeah, that's just, look, there are a million things that are going wrong with this show that are the reasons that we don't grow at all. I am certain this is probably one of them. I don't know what to do. All right. Sorry, Mike. I hope we can fix that. Let's see. Who else are we saying hi to today? Peter, of course. Leslie C. Jen is here. Oh, we already talked about Barney. He's on the podium. Peter. All right, Peter, with a question that I had yesterday. Peter says, if Gandhi's a pedophile, then I am a cantaloupe. And my son told me yesterday, because I aligned politically, I took this big test, And I guess my worldview aligns with Gandhi, which I do not have a problem with. That's the worst thing you can say. Dude, he's like, I don't know. He's like Gandhi. Like, that's not an insult. That's, I mean, what if my political views were like, you're just like Tommy Tuberville. I'd be like, oh, fuck me. So I'm okay with that. Peter raises the question, if Gandhi's a pedophile, then I'm a cantaloupe. My son claims that Gandhi's a pedophile. This sounds like a job for AI. Let's see what AI is saying. Hold on. Is Gandhi a pedophile? Okay. No. All right, there you go. All right, AI says no. My 17-year-old, who probably spends too much time on Reddit, says yes, but AI says no. Mahatma Gandhi was not a pedophile. Hold on. I think we need to make note of this. All right, here we go. Is that how you spell Gandhi? Oh, I don't know how to spell Gandhi. Look at that. I have no idea. I thought it was G-H. It's not. It's G-A-N-D-H-I. Well, there's no reason for it to be spelled that way. All right, here we go. We have breaking news. My son is a liar. Gandhi is not a pedo. All right, let's go into this. Let's see. No, Mahatma Gandhi was not a pedophile in the clinical or legal sense of seeking sexual involvement with children, but his late life behavior involved highly controversial non-sexual celibacy tests with young women that have led to modern accusations of exploitation. All right. So stop it. All right, it wasn't exploitation by 1920 terms or whatever. I don't know when it was. It says the Brahmacharya experiments. All right, so apparently Gandhi was involved in something called the Brahmacharya experiments. In 1906, at the age of 36, Gandhi, that's not later in life. Well, wait, when did Gandhi die? He died at 50. Maybe that was later in life. In 1906, at the age of 36, Gandhi took a strict lifelong vow of Brahmacharya, which is spiritual celibacy and control of one's senses. All right, so in 1906, he became celibate. Later in his life, particularly in his 40s, when he was in his later in his life, particularly in the 1940s, when he was in his late 70s, Gandhi began a series of highly unorthodox experiences and experiments to test his self-control and immunity to sexual desires. All right. Here we go. We got more. The practice. Gandhi began sleeping naked in the same bed with several young women from his entourage, most notably his grandniece Manu. And this is not good. This does not paint a nice picture. Fuck, Gandhi was a weirdo. Jesus, man. We can't have anything nice. All right. Gandhi began sleeping naked. We did this. All right. The age of the women. Despite internet rumors framing these women as young children, historical records and diaries indicate they were all legal age and young adults, typically 18, 19 years old at the time. Right. Still, all right. The nature of the acts. Ready? There is no historical evidence, testimony, or accusation from the women involved indicating that any sexual intercourse, molestation, or overt sexual acts took place. The primary sources, including the women's own diaries, describe the acts as strictly non-sexual, spiritual, and structural. Widespread criticism exists. Here we go. While not meeting the definition of pedophilia, because none of them were underage. That's the definition. Despite not meeting the definition of pedophilia, Gandhi's actions were heavily criticized both during his lifetime and by contemporary historians. Let's see. Gandhi's close political associates, including future Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru and several ashram disciples, were deeply shocked and highly critical of these experiments. Some staff members even resigned from his ashram in protest, viewing the behavior as inappropriate and unseemly. Again, we're asking the question. My son told me that although I align politically with the thoughts of Gandhi, which again, I'm going to take as a positive, no matter how badly he tried to ruin it by telling me that Gandhi was a pedophile. That's what we're investigating. Present-day critics, feminist scholars. Oh, great. Jeez. Feminist scholars. Present-day critics, feminist scholars, and social media campaigns often apply terms like pedophile or predator to Gandhi. They argue that the vast power dynamic between an aging global icon and the young women in his care made true consent impossible, constituting a form of psychological and emotional exploitation. Historians, however, generally view Gandhi's late life behavior not as a pattern of pedophilia, but as a deeply flawed, eccentric, and paternalistic exercise in spiritual hubris. Yeah, he was probably full of himself. At some point, Gandhi probably started believing his own press clippings like a rock star. And imagine you're Gandhi believing your press clippings, because now you believe that you can do no wrong, that you are the embodiment of the, perfect spiritual human. So, yeah, I think you can do whatever. All right, there you have it. So my son told me that I align politically with Gandhi, who is also a pedophile. And we just disproved that, so we can move on. Let's see. This seems like the kind of thing, seriously, though, Gandhi being a pedophile, doesn't that seem like the kind of thing that Byron believes? Hold on. Like, Byron, where are you on this? Like, did you read some Reddit thing that my son also read, and now you're going around going, I don't know. Just seems like one of those, Barney's got some fun views. Or not Barney, Byron. Why do I always say? Because it's bees, because they're two of my favorites, and they're always here, and that's why. Byron's got some fun views. Peter's excited to find out that Gandhi's not a pedophile. Peter said that Gandhi's a pedophile. I'm a cantaloupe. Peter's happy to not be a cantaloupe. Jen chimes in on the Gandhi thing. Okay, I think it's the Dalai Lama that Mason is thinking of. The Dalai Lama? Don't even. Is he bad too? Do we have no good people? We have no good people. Yeah, Peter, tell me about it. Whew, Peter's glad they weren't children. That was a close one. Jen also says, I think the Dalai Lama was having young boys sit on his lap or something. All right, let's do it. Let's see. This is if AI is going to take all the jobs, they may as well take these ones too. Is the Dalai Lama a pedophile? All right. The Dalai Lama has not been charged with, okay, this is different than Gandhi. Like, I asked a direct question to AI in both cases, and it returned on Gandhi, no, he's not a pedophile. The Dalai Lama, they seem to be hedging a little bit here, so let's dive in. Is the Dalai Lama a pedophile? It says here the Dalai Lama has not been charged with, again, that sounds like a technicality. It's a bad way to start. The Dalai Lama has not been charged with, convicted of, or legally designated as a pedophile. Public association between the Dalai Lama and pedophilia stemmed primarily from two highly publicized controversies. Back in 2023, the tongue video. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Did the Dalai Lama try and stick his tongue in a kid's mouth? And was like, no, this is how we give God to each other. What was the excuse there? Okay, in April of 2023, a video clip from a February event in these names, fucking India and Iceland with the names of their towns. All right, so this happened in Dharamshala, India. It happened in India. In April of 2023, it went viral. It showed the Dalai Lama kissing a young boy on the lips and subsequently asking him to suck my tongue. God, I remember that. Holy shit. Well, I mean, that's pedophilia for us. I mean, look, okay, all right, take a walk with me on this, folks. I'm going to try and see this in a different way. The Dalai Lama ain't us, okay? The Dalai Lama has been raised to be the Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama is like a space alien compared to you and me who wake up every day and, do worry about bills and shit. That ain't the way the Dalai Lama has ever seen the world, okay? He's like a boy, king, god, alien, whatever you want to call him. Okay, so it's still wrong. It's still wrong. I just don't know that it's, I don't know that we can say that it's so obviously and clearly wrong to that person, to the Dalai Lama, who, I just don't think he has the same life experiences as us. So maybe to him, sucking tongues isn't sexual, because I don't imagine the Dalai Lama has ever French kissed or made out with a girl. Anyway, let's get back into it. All right, so the Dalai Lama asked a kid to suck his tongue. That ain't good. The interaction sparked global outrage, leading to widespread online criticism and accusations of child abuse. Promised I was going to do these more. Hold on. Oh, shit. This is a long way to go for a stupid bit. All right. How do you spell? That is no way to spell Dolly. That is nuts. Okay, there we go. We need to update. We need to update our screen. There you go. Breaking news. The Dalai Lama might be a pet. That ain't how you spell. How is that how you spell Indians? See what I mean? Or Tibetans. That's not how you spell Dolly. All right, let's get back into it. The response to him asking a little boy to suck his tongue, the interaction sparked global outrage, leading to widespread online criticism and accusations of child abuse. In response, the office of the Dalai Lama issued a formal apology to the boy and his family. The statement noted that the spiritual leader often teases people he meets in an innocent and playful way. Yeah, him and Harvey Weinstein. That's just innocent and playful. Let's see. Cultural context versus the criticism levied. Tibetan supporters and cultural experts argued that sticking out one's tongue is a traditional Tibetan greeting used to show respect or benevolence. Oh, bullshit. And that the interaction was innocent, grandparent-like behavior. However, the child protection advocates and international critics strongly condemned the actions, arguing that the behavior violated the child's bodily autonomy and crossed boundaries regardless of cultural context. A lot of big words to just say, that was fucking weird. That's fucking weird, man. That's it. We don't know what it means, but that's weird. Don't do it again. All right, there you have it. Breaking news here on two fronts as this Tuesday unfolds. Gandhi is not a pedophile, but the Dalai Lama might be. All right. Feel like we've accomplished stuff already here. I kind of remember that now. I remember when that was a story, when he asked the boy, but I guess I just kind of. Hold on. Yeah, right? There you go. All right. You know what? Let's ask AI what AI thinks about Michael Jackson. Was Michael Jackson a pedophile? I've asked you about Gandhi and I've asked you about the Dalai Lama. Now tell me, as compared to those two, is Michael Jackson a pedophile? All right, let's see what AI says. Do you think I let it? I don't think I let it. Michael Jackson was never legally convicted of any crimes related to child sexual abuse. Though he faced numerous public allegations, a multi-million-dollar civil settlement, and a high-profile criminal trial. When examining Michael Jackson alongside historical or religious figures like Gandhi and the Dalai Lama, the nature of the controversy surrounding each individual is fundamentally different. Jackson's situation was defined by explicit, repeated legal he's a ped. There you go. Breaking news. AI, without saying it, is basically saying Michael's a ped. Gandhi, people just say that for clickbait, and the Dalai Lama literally asked the boy to suck his tongue, so you're going to have to make your own mind up on that one. All right, there we go. By the way, did you guys watch that Netflix Michael Jackson thing? The trial of Michael Jackson, new on Netflix. Well, new, about a week old now. It's good. It's really good. I think I told you about that. It's good. I totally think Michael Jackson's a pedophile now. As a matter of fact, I think that Michael Jackson is a huge monster in a way that I've never thought it before. I had never seen the evidence presented like that. It is just without question. I learned too much about Michael Jackson that I never knew. Like, for instance, Michael Jackson was a big drinker and a cigarette smoker. That goes completely against the public brand and image that Michael Jackson portrayed throughout the 80s and the 90s. In fact, it was controversial when he became the spokesperson for Pepsi because of his strongly devout Jehovah's Witness roots, which banned caffeine. So he's not allowed to drink. Well, caffeine is a drug. He's not allowed to have any drugs as a Jehovah's Witness. And they were like, well, how can he endorse Pepsi if he's a devout Jehovah's Witness? So that was a big thing. And apparently it was all bullshit. All bullshit. There have been a lot of things about celebrities that have been bullshit, and we just believed it because it was before the internet. It was before, like, we could really do the research on our own, so they would just release bullshit, and then we'd hear people read the bullshit on, like, newscasts and stuff, and we just went, okay, so it was bullshit. You know what else? Here's another example of bullshit. Do you guys remember in like 2000, 2001, 1999-ish, in that period? Do you remember that period when Britney Spears was being presented to everybody like a virgin? Like she had been with Justin Timberlake, but they exchanged promise rings and she's a virgin. And now we know that she'd been banging since she was 15. It's bullshit. They just put bullshit out there. We're supposed to believe it. All right, a lot of examples of that. Michael Jackson was a smoker, he was a drinker, and he had a whole bunch of pornography in his bedroom. That's all shit that I never really thought about. And he had weird pornography, guys. When I say Michael Jackson had pornography in his little briefcase there in his room that one of the victims addressed it or told police to go find, and then the police found it. One of the accusers said, yeah, he made us look at porno with him. And the cops were like, really? Where was the porno? And the kid was like, oh, he had it in his room. And the cops were like, where in his room? He's like, he keeps it underneath the blah, blah, blah. And the cop said, well, what is it? And what does it look like? What are we looking for? And the kid said, it's a briefcase filled with a bunch of dirty magazines. First thing the cops found. Michael Jackson is having these kids sleep in his room, hanging out in the bedroom, and in the bedroom, Michael's got a whole bunch of pornography. And the kids, how would the kid know? If it was just an innocent sleepover, how would the kid know to direct the police to where the pornography was if Michael hadn't pulled out the pornography? Fucking weirdo. Seriously, the music still bangs. Separate the art from the artist, but yeah, no, after watching that Netflix thing, Michael Jackson is absolutely a pedophile, in my opinion. Well, don't do it like this, my guy, my boy Peter. You need to watch it for yourself, but whatever. I appreciate that you believe me. Mikey says, no worries. Just thought I'd let you know when it very well may be on my end. I don't know what he's talking about. What did I miss? I missed the first part of that, Mike. Sorry. Quite frankly, I'm not going to go back. All right, let's move into today's big stories. Yeah, I know we're in a ceasefire, and I know we won the war like 3 days in, and yeah, I know we've completely destroyed the Iranian military and their ability to wage war, and I know that Trump fixed everything. Guys, which is it? Here's the disconnect between people who are not endlessly irritated by just about everything that this president does and those of us who are, okay? There are people who are okay with the president of the United States being a shit-talking troll who just says stuff to piss off the opposition. There are people who are okay with that. And then there's the rest of us who have some pride in the country, and we think that our representative, especially our president, ought to be more of a statesman than an internet troll. That's the real disconnect. He's an embarrassment as a human being to what we Americans are supposed to put forward to the rest of the world. He's a dick and a rich kid asshole. Okay, so there you go. told us the war was over. He told us they completely eliminated their ability. First of all, going all the way back to a year ago when we blew up, remember we sent a mission, we blew up a bunch of their nuclear stuff, and then the reports, the press were like, he didn't get anything. They didn't hit anything. And then he came out and was like, the press is lying. We completely destroyed their ability to wage war. The press is lying. And then like 9 months later, they were within 2 weeks of waging war. I thought we took care of that 9 months earlier. He lied. He just does nothing but lie. And some people are okay with that. And others, myself included, are just like, holy fuck. Can we just, I mean, even at this point, JD, let's get somebody who is not so comfortable with fucking lying about everything like a fucking salesman. Anyway, apparently the war ain't over because they shot down an Apache helicopter. Thankfully. And this is another reason why I think Trump has been able to get away with this bullshit, with this war for 103 days now. It's because we don't have a body count. We don't have a big, horrible body count. And that's thank God. Thank God. But should that change? Not good. Anyway, we had an incident here yesterday. Iran has shot down an American military helicopter while it was patrolling over the Strait of Hormuz in a ceasefire by an army that lost 100 days ago, and an army who 102 days ago had all of their ability to wage war completely eliminated. We were told that by the leader of the free world. Yeah, those people, during a ceasefire in a war that they've already lost with no ability to fight back, they shot down an Apache helicopter. The Iranians shot down one of our... Is this what the president said? Yeah, okay, so here's the president's statement. The Iranians shot down one of our highly sophisticated Apache helicopters. Well, that ain't good. Why did you have to add highly sophisticated? You're making it seem like they are way better than what you had told us they were for the past 100 days. They're good enough to shoot down one of our highly... You don't need to say that. Just say the Iranians shot down one of our helicopters. You're making it sound worse, you dummy. But he's got to say highly sophisticated because, I'm an American. He doesn't realize that that's a bad look for us if a bunch of spear chuckers who have had their ability to wage war wiped out for 100 days can still take out one of our highly sophisticated Apache helicopters. All right, here's what the president says. The Iranians shot down one of our highly sophisticated Apache helicopters while patrolling over the Strait of Hormuz. Let's see. He added that he had been briefed by the military on the situation. There were 2 pilots involved. Both are safe and uninjured. That is the most important part of this story. Second most important part is that this guy's a fucking liar. He's just lying about shit. And it doesn't, that's the only thing that bothers me about him. It's just the incessant lies. I can't, well, if I'm being honest, that's not the only thing that bothers me about him. But honestly, if we could fix that, we might be onto something. There were 2 pilots involved. Both are safe and uninjured, Trump said. Nevertheless, the United States must, of necessity, respond to this attack. All right, so we're going to respond. Did we respond yet? Nothing. I got the TV on here because I'm waiting to see when we respond. So ceasefire's holding, though. He wants us to know it's holding. That thing that I negotiated that I want credit for, the ceasefire that's still going on. We're going to be responding in kind, proportionate response. So this goes on and on and on. That's what proportionate response theory leads to. Just an endless back and forth, back and forth. Barney says Blackhawks are fairly easy to shoot down. How the fuck would you know? I mean, with all due respect, Barney, I don't know. Would you read that on the internet? I know you've got military experience, but I don't think you're a Blackhawk helicopter pilot. I don't know. I got Barney here going, they're fairly easy to shoot down. I got the president going, highly sophisticated. Which is it? You're a Trump guy. You're disagreeing with your president. That's probably going to make you lose a little sleep. All right, just kidding. Yeah, Barney's right. Always be closing. That's what this president is doing. He is always closing. All right. Always be closing. ABC. All right, so we're waiting to see whatever our response is going to be. And it'll be, again, it'll be proportionate. It'll just be like, we shot a missile at a building. That'll show them to shoot at our Apache. It'll be that. And that's all it can be, because he has backed himself into a corner. The only thing that we, the most powerful military in the world, can do is just fucking send our guys in there and take that country over, which he doesn't want to do, which I don't want him to do. But that's the only thing left for America. I mean, short of, again, sort of creating this unified Middle Eastern military group made up of Jordanians and Kuwaitis and Saudis, and let them go in. That's what a good president should be able to do. Convince these people to police their own fucking backyard, but he can't do that. So we're just sitting here pretending there's been a ceasefire now for about a month while we're still shooting back and forth at each other. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. All right, let's see. What else are we going to talk about? Let's bring you up to speed on the whole Carmelo Anthony trial that's happening in North Texas. Carmelo Anthony, of course, he pull the story. Where do I have the story? Give me the story. Sorry. Carmelo Anthony was a 17-year-old high school student up there in Frisco who he was on the track team. So, say what you will about him. It's not like he's a gangbanging car thief. He's actually involved in school activities. So is Austin Metcalf. Austin Metcalf is another 17-year-old high school student there in Frisco. Two different high schools. They gathered together about 2 years ago for a regional track meet there in Frisco. And before the track meet started, all of the different teams from different schools were placed in the bleachers, and they each had their own section. Carmelo Anthony somehow, or for some reason, was sitting in a different school's section. This caused Austin Metcalf to regulate. Austin Metcalf would not get rid of him and, hey, you're not supposed to be here. Now, again, this is apropos of nothing regarding the decision to stab him twice in the chest, but I do wonder what Austin Metcalf's whole energy was. Not that his energy did anything to deserve what happened. I believe that if the facts that I understand, that Carmelo Anthony just reacted by pulling out a knife and plunging it twice into this kid's chest. Carmelo Anthony is a murderer, okay? But just to have the full idea of things, I think that probably Austin Metcalf may have come in a little bit hard, may have come in a little bit like, get the fuck out of here. And again, that has nothing to do. We're just trying to create the whole picture. So when you make that choice to come in hard, which I believe that he did, and there have been reports that it was, it wasn't like, hey, buddy, I don't know if you're aware, but this is our team's area. And, I can help you out. Maybe we can find where you're supposed to be. Like, that wasn't the vibe. Okay. The vibe was get the fuck out of here, which in turn created a situation where this Carmelo Anthony guy, who is obviously a fucking idiot and probably a little bit crazy, he decides that he's going to respond by stabbing him twice in the chest. Okay, so that's where we are. Austin Metcalf is dead. He did nothing to deserve this. Don't twist anything. I'm just wondering about the whole situation, and we've been hearing people talk about what the energy was throughout the course of this trial. So let me get you up to speed on where we are today, because man, oh man, have we moved through quickly. The defense rested yesterday already. The defense the defense started on Saturday. They did the weird thing where they had a full day of trial on Saturday. And on Saturday, the prosecution, who had opened their case on Friday, rested. The prosecution did the prosecution did a day and a half to make their case. On Saturday, the defense started their opening statements, and on Monday, yesterday, the defense made their case, called their witnesses, and then rested. That's crazy. The defense rested on Monday, June 8th, following a brief presentation of witnesses by the defense team. Judge John Roach Jr. dismissed the jury for the day, instructing them to return on Tuesday morning, that's today, with an overnight bag in anticipation of being sequestered. Already. This trial jury selection started a week ago yesterday. This is not how, I don't know. Maybe this is how, because, quite frankly, we're accustomed to paying attention to the trials of celebrities who have massive amounts of money to hire massive amounts of lawyers to do massive amounts of discovery that take these trials into the 2-3 month zone. Diddy was well over a month. OJ was an entire summer. And I think that has to do with the fact that these wealthy defendants can pay for lawyers to drag it out. I don't know that that's the case with the Metcalf or the Anthony family. So this thing is moving quickly. Let's see here. The trial moved at a rapid pace on Monday after the prosecution rested its case over the weekend. The defense stepped in to try and establish their core claim of self-defense. Some teammates testified. Hold on. Sorry. A track teammate of Carmelo Anthony took the stand for the defense, testifying that he witnessed Austin Metcalf physically push Anthony before the stabbing. Okay. I mean, look, I'm a human being. Okay. I know how 17-year-old boys act towards each other. And I do believe that Austin Metcalf may have made a young man's choice in how to rectify this situation. Diffusing it was probably never in the cards. It was just alpha. I'm an alpha and you're going to move and shut the fuck, right? So that's basically what one of the teammates of Carmelo Anthony testified, was that Austin Metcalf was the aggressor. He physically pushed Anthony before the stabbing. All right, see, but I forget everything about that because of the stabbing. So I'm like, yeah, the stabbing was not the response to being pushed. Stop acting like it is. This idea that someone gets pushed and, well, therefore he's justified murdering him is insane. Let's see here. The witnesses noted that Carmelo Anthony, appeared distraught immediately following the incident and overheard him repeatedly saying, "I told him not to touch me. I told him not to touch me." Okay, so you sound like a fucking psycho who's going to spend the rest of your life in jail. That's not how normal people respond. If I say to somebody, "Don't touch me," and they touch me, my solution isn't to murder them with a pocket knife. Okay, so don't try and make me compassionate for you by telling me about how in the moments following you murdering another teenager that you were like, "I told him not to touch me." That is not justification. That only tells me that you're fucking nuts and that you should be in prison for the rest of your life because you obviously cannot make normal decisions. The defense also called a Frisco police detective who initially interviewed witnesses. Their questioning targeted minor inconsistencies in what the in what the teenage bystanders remembered, noting that a phone's deleted folder data couldn't be fully recalled by the investigator. I don't know what that means. Phones deleted folder data. I don't know what that means. But what they're trying to say, they pulled a Frisco cop up on the stand. He's one of the guys that interviewed the witnesses in the immediate aftermath. And the defense is like, "Well, this guy said that, but then this guy said that." Like, that's the whole defense. The whole defense is that, like, a bunch of 16, 17-year-olds who just watched something incredibly traumatic unfold before their eyes might have slightly different versions of how it went down. That is not a defense that is going to get a murderer acquitted, okay? That is just like, yeah, it was chaos. People see different things. We know this from hundreds of years of trial, that eyewitness testimony is not always the most reliable. People see what they want to see, and then in the aftermath, when they try and put it together, the story they tell oftentimes is nothing like what really happened. Let's see here. The biggest revelation from yesterday came when the defense team confirmed that Carmelo Anthony himself would not take the stand to testify on his own behalf. Well, I think that's probably smart, because I don't think Carmelo Anthony can be trusted to go up there and help his case. He is obviously somebody who doesn't react or have any kind of control of his emotions. Because remember, he got pushed for sitting in the wrong place, and his solution to the problem was to murder the person who pushed him. So yeah, if I'm the defense attorney, I don't want this kid up on the stand because some prosecutor is going to trigger him, because prosecutors know how to do that. And then the kid's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to fucking kill you too, right? That's not what we want. Fucking idiot. So yeah. So they were like, will he testify? I was watching this all weekend. Will he testify? I'm like, he ain't testifying. They ain't going to put that kid on the stand. That kid is not going to come off good in his own defense. After returning from an extended 3-hour lunch break yesterday, the defense unexpectedly announced that they were resting their case. You know, I mean, if this was a celebrity client, if this was the real Carmelo Anthony, they wouldn't have rested. They'd have been like, okay, we're going to do like 4 more days of witness. Excuse me. All right. So that was yesterday. So this morning, the trial resumed up there in Collin County. Closing arguments began this morning around 9 a.m. Both the prosecution and defense are currently delivering their final closing arguments. Once closing arguments finish today, the 12, or maybe not today, like we don't know. I assume it will be because they're being lightning quick with all of these different stages of the trial. So I wouldn't imagine that either the defense or the prosecution is going to be so long-winded in their closing arguments that it will spill into tomorrow, but who knows, maybe. Once closing arguments conclude, the 12-person all-white jury, again, that's kind of an issue. Remember yesterday I told you about the Bastions challenge that the defense made to the judge, claiming that the prosecution was without merit, disqualifying black jurors because, you know, whatever. They wanted an all-white jury in this trial where a black kid kills a white kid. Look, that looks bad, and I'm telling you that's exactly the kind of thing that is going to have us doing this in appeal, right? This is going to be a whole, who knows? That's just it's an arrogance. That is an arrogance on the part of the prosecution to look at the jury, see that it's all white, see that this is an incredibly racially toxic story, which it is. This has become a racial story. It's not a racial story. It's two fucking excuse me. It's all teenage boys are fucking idiots. Okay, so God rest Austin Metcalf's soul. But fact of the matter is all teenage boys are kind of idiots, okay? These are just two teenagers, two Gen Zers who do not know how to interact. Again, I say, why did Austin Metcalf plunge that knife into him? Because disrespect on the internet and violence as a resolution to your little problems, that is just something that has been normalized for Gen Z because they live online and they play these video games. I have never been one of these people who think that video games do anything to, accelerate violence in society. But generationally, looking at Gen Z and looking at the way that they endlessly consume all kinds of violence, I truly believe now at this stage that kind of repetition, that normalization of this leads to problems. And that might be at the root of this whole thing, that this 16, 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony felt so disrespected that the only thing in his worldview that he could do would be to murder him, because that would give him street cred, Stonebriar street cred. The mean streets of Frisco, Texas, where every house costs $500,000. It's like the cheapest house in Frisco is $500,000. Anyway, Anthony is being tried as an adult for first-degree murder because of his age at the time of the 2025 incident. He was 17. The death penalty is not on the table. Good. I'm not a death penalty guy. I don't think it's the right of any of us, certainly not the state, to put human beings to death. I think that it is a cross that we as a civilized society must bear, to have to house and warehouse and sort of store away from civilized society the people who can't seem to follow our rules. That's just one of the things we have to do as a civilized society. The idea of just murdering other human beings, huge moral situation for me. That is a moral problem for me. I don't believe we should kill humans. We should lock them behind bars and make them stay there forever because they have proven to us that they can't follow the rules that we would like them to. But I just don't think spiritual, karmically, as a human being, morally, I just don't believe that we should have the right to kill another person. I think that ape don't kill ape. If the Planet of the Apes taught us nothing, it's that they evolved to a place where the biggest cardinal sin in their little talking ape world is ape killing ape. We should adopt that. Man should not kill man. We should put men in prisons. Well, what, I got to pay for that? Yes, you do. It's the price we pay if we want a civilized society. That's how it works. Murdering people who we think may have done it, and we don't know for sure because trials are not 100%. But the idea of murdering people because we got them, that is immoral to me. That is immoral. And I'm look at me. Look at me. I'm a guy who loves Jesus, but I'm certainly not a Christian. Isn't that different? Let's see. Do we have anything else here? No, that's about it. All right, I'll let you know what we hear. I can't imagine that this is this bad for me to say. I can't imagine that this jury, this all-white jury in the Carmelo Anthony trial, are going to need to stay the night. I think that this is probably going to be a fairly quick deliberation. This may even be one of those things where they come to a decision on the first vote. This happens a lot in jury trials. The judge dismisses them, they go in the back room, and within 5 minutes, they're voting. Sometimes they come to a consensus on that first vote, but it's a bad look for the jury to return after like a half hour. Typically, they make them wait an hour. At the very least, just wait an hour. Anything else is going to look like you didn't truly consider it. So we might have one of those situations where they're just sitting around hanging out for like 45 minutes, waiting for it to seem appropriate for them to say we've come to a decision. Because as far as I've seen, and I've been following this trial pretty close, there's no question. The only question is why he did it. And you know what? That's for later. That's for journalists and authors who write books. Did he do it? That's what this trial is about. And yes, he did it. But he was scared. All right. Carmelo Anthony trial looks to be wrapping up. The jury might be sequestered as early as this afternoon. All right, let's move on. We had a big basketball game yesterday in New York City. Really, the basketball game took second fiddle to the situation there in New York City. The first time that the New York Knicks have hosted a finals there at Madison Square Garden since like forever, and it was a huge deal. The Spurs and Knicks came into this series with the Spurs winning the first two games. They were up 2-0. The Knicks looked to be on the ropes. What a game. What an incredible basketball game last night. My God, I told you yesterday, the Knicks won. I told you yesterday that, just lost my train of thought. Anyway, sorry. So the Knicks won the game, and yeah, it was just a great game. It was just a great game. It was back and forth. It was both sided. Both teams at one point looked like they were absolutely dominating. And then, by the way, Wemby's a dirty player. I told you that I don't watch much NBA basketball that doesn't concern the Chicago Bulls or the Dallas Mavericks. So I have really not seen a whole lot of Wemby. And I watched him play yesterday. First of all, he's really good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd take him, but he's dirty. He is a dirty player, man. And he wasn't getting calls that he had. There's a whole montage of shit that Wemby was doing to Knicks players that didn't get any kind of text, no fouls, no nothing. Anybody else, they would have. Crazy. Also, it's funny when you see Wemby standing next to other NBA players, like during a timeout where they're all gathered and Wemby's like taller. And it's like funny because even among the super tall, which all NBA players are super tall. Okay, Muggsy Bogues. All right, whatever. Who was the other one? There was Bogues and there was Spud Webb. That's it. Bogues and Webb. Anyway, it's funny to see Wemby standing around a bunch of other NBA players because he's so absurdly big. But then when you see him stand around a crowd of like normal people who aren't NBA players, it's hysterical. Wemby walking through the tunnel, through the crowd, you know, you walk through and the crowd is all there. Wemby walking through that crowd with his other NBA players who you're like, wow, tall guy and another tall guys. And then you see normal people. It's insane. It's insane how tall and thin Wemby is. All right, anyway. So the Knicks fans in general, people who are Knick Nation, they're going nuts. They're going absolutely nuts because this is a big deal for them. And New York is absolutely a basketball town. Madison Square Garden, I mean, it's a mecca of basketball going back into the 1960s. Anyway, so the fans are all ginned up. They have obvious, we're at war. We're at war with a country that we'd been told for the last 30 years had been secretly dropping sleeper cells into our midst, and they're everywhere. And anybody who we think is Iranian is probably a sleeper, because that's what we were told. And now we're actually at war with Iran for 103 days, and absolutely none of them sleeper cells have been activated. You would think that after we murdered the Ayatollah Khomeini, that if there were sleeper cells the way we'd been told by Republican right-wing radio for 30 years, you would think they would have been activated, but they weren't. So I think that's a lot of bullshit designed to keep you scared. And when you're scared, what do? You follow people who seem to know what they're talking about. That's what that was about. So we're at war, and it's New York, and it's Iran. And I guess, Islamic terrorists are angry at us now like never before. So this was a big security thing, right? Madison Square Garden, the day before, Sunday night. I told you about the homeless guy who stabbed 6 people. So, I mean, that's security is insane. You got the Knicks fans who are ginned up. The president decided he was going to show up, which, I guess it was fine. I don't know. I don't know about any of the logistical nightmares or things that had to be changed just to accommodate the leader of the free world being securely placed inside a box there at the Madison Square Garden. I don't know, but it seemed to be fine. They did not. This was, I appreciated this. They did not make a big deal. ABC, the ABC, ESPN, Disney, whatever you want to call them, crew, they did not make a big deal. There was no, and the president's here, right? And they show them on camera. No, they didn't do that. What they did was, during the national anthem, they briefly showed the president. And of course, it's New York City, so people booed him. Now we're seeing online. I mean, I watched it live. I'm like, they're booing him. Yeah, they're booing him. It wasn't like a resounding boo. Interestingly enough, the ultra-right-wing Washington Times newspaper, their reporter classified it as thunderous boos for the president. I mean, that's a far-right gin machine, the Washington Times. They have no journalistic credibility, but they present like they do. So dumb people go, that looks real. Well, I know the New York Times is supposed to be important, so this is the Washington must be. No, dummy. The Washington Post is the real newspaper in New York. The Washington Times is designed for idiots. Okay. But having said that, the idiot reporter for the idiot Washington Times, he described the response to Trump in Madison Square Garden as thunderous boos, and I just didn't see it. You can go find it on your own. I don't want to show it. Here's what I do know for sure. Trump fucking fell asleep. He fell asleep at the game. That I know for sure. I'm not going to say that it was thunderous boos the way the right-wing Washington Times described it. I heard some applause. I didn't hear. It wasn't horrifyingly embarrassing for the president, which is what I think the left wants it to have been. It wasn't. It just wasn't. Sorry. But he did fall asleep. And that's the one that, again, we're seeing people go, no, he didn't. I'm like, I watched a 35-second video. You can find it. It's out there. It's going around. I watched a 35-second video where this man's eyes were closed and his head was down and he never moved. He only moved after the crowd went, after there was a big roar, and then he kind of went, just admitted he was sleeping. That's fine, but you can't admit it. You can't admit it because you made a huge deal about the fact that Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, one thing you can't be as president is sleepy, and then this fucking guy is Rip Van Winkle compared to President Biden. People are nuts. Hypocrisy. So he did not get insanely booed the way a lot of lefties will have you, believe. And righties, the Washington Times said, it's wrong. I watched it. It's not thunderous. There were boos. Of course there were. He's a provocative and polarizing figure, but it wasn't what they described. But if anybody is trying to tell you that he was just resting his eyes, they're fucking lying to you. He wasn't. He was sleeping. That's a fact. The man falls asleep. The man shit posts at 4 a.m. and then falls asleep during, Joint Chiefs meetings. All right. Let's see here. So we're going to do more about the Knicks game. We're going to do more about the reaction. We've got some video. We got some videos, some stuff that went down on the streets. Good times. We'll get into that later in the show. Spencer Pratt has been officially eliminated from the mayor's race. I know that on election night, he was, in second place. And the talk was that he would go to a runoff with Karen Bass. But as the votes come in, as is normal, Jesus fucking Christ, man. They take 3 days to count the votes. Always. The final, especially if it's a tight election, it always takes 3 days to count every vote. If it's not a tight election, that's when you get the declared winner on election night. But when it's tight, when it's close, when it's within the margin of error, big cities and large counties all across this country, they take multiple days. We know this. I don't know why we're acting like in the case of Los Angeles, where it was a tight 3-person race. I don't know why we're acting like this is just a glaring example of voter fraud, which is just so stupid. If you think that the only way that the former asshole from the hills could lose the Los Angeles mayoral election is through voter fraud, you're an idiot. Okay? This guy had no right to be running. He's a moron. He's running as one of these reality influencer stars. I know it worked at the highest level. I know that's what we have in a president, but it doesn't mean that just anybody with over 1 million followers on Twitter gets to be a statesman. And he was never a good choice. He's a joke. He's an absolute joke he's just doing it to be famous. He wants to be famous again. Spencer Pratt hasn't been famous in 20 years. Completely anonymous. So he lost and he's gone. All right. And now there is going to be a runoff, but it's going to be between the two progressive candidates. What a surprise. The MAGA guy didn't get enough votes to advance in Los Angeles. Oh, it's gotta be fraud. It's gotta be. Stop it. Stop it. People across the country are rejecting these stunt candidates. And it ain't just stunt candidates there in places like California where they're smart enough to reject it. Vince the Sham Wow guy got rejected in Texas, right? Remember Vince? I told you about this story. He was running down there in Waco for a seat in Congress. And he decided that his track, he never lived in Texas, but he decided to rent an apartment and then suddenly run because there was an open seat there. And why did he choose Texas? Because he looked at Texas and he went, boy, I bet you that's a place where I can just go nuts and say the absolute worst shit and they'll probably elect me. That was his metric. And guess what? Texas said, fuck you, Vince. Fuck you. Stunt candidates. We don't need any more stunt candidates. So there you go. So Pratt is gone. Vince the Sham Wow guy is gone. I'm sure there's any number of porn stars who will be running for president coming up because this is who we are now. Pratt is gone. The Artemis 3 crew has been announced, and I'm not even going to waste my time giving you their names because as it turns out, the Artemis 3 mission is not going to be what I thought it was. Artemis 2, which we all celebrated, very excited about just a month or so ago, maybe 2 months. Artemis 2 was the first manned lunar orbit mission since the 1970s. It was the first time that we sent a crew of people inside a garbage can strapped on top of a mountain of dynamite and blew them up into the moon. They got into lunar orbit. They orbited the moon. They went around the moon and then they slingshot right back to Earth. They didn't land. They didn't do any of that. That was Artemis 2. It was still a massive thing. It was a massive thing that we did. Baby steps. We have to do one thing at a time. So Artemis 3 was promised. It turns out they changed it in like late February, but I didn't know that. So Artemis 3 was promised to be returning humans to the moon. If Artemis 2 was successful, which was the lunar orbit, Artemis 3 was going to be the lunar orbit and the lunar landing. But that ain't happening. I don't know what the hell happened, but now we've got the announcement of the new Artemis 3 crew, and who cares? Because they're just going to do a lunar orbit again. They ain't landing. It's now been announced that Artemis 4, the next one, will be where we actually land people. All right, so I don't like to do this stuff, and I don't do this stuff very often because, as I like to tell you, you shouldn't be concerned about congressional races in, districts 2,000 miles from where you live. Maybe you can be allowed to have a little bit of interest in a senatorial race because of the balance of power and all that. But let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Maine tonight. We've got this guy, this Democrat, who is running. Ultimately, he wants to unseat Susan Collins. Susan Collins, the long-standing anti-Trump conservative Republican senator. She doesn't like Trump. She votes with him all the time. But then when she gets in front of a mic, she's like, I wish he wouldn't talk that way. You know what I mean? She's not MAGA, but they want her to go, or at least they're, the Democrats there in Maine would like to take that seat, and why not? She's vulnerable. She doesn't have the unwavering support of MAGA, and she exists in a pretty progressive state. Now, she's a long-term senator, but I think a lot of people think that maybe her time is come and gone. So Graham Platner, Planter. Why do I say Platner? Is it Planter? What is it? Which is it? I don't even know. I don't care. Here's the thing. We'll just call him Graham. We'll call him maybe Nazi rapey Graham. That's what we'll call him. Maybe Nazi, maybe rapey Graham Platner. So he's running for Senate there, and he's one of these upstart characters who came out of nowhere and sort of mesmerized people with his straight talk for the working man and all of that. That's his whole brand. He's an oyster farmer. I'm a hard worker just like you. He's got tattoos and he's got a hipster beard and he lives up there in Maine. And he's embodying what he thinks, or he's presenting as the new Democratic Party, which is not completely different from what I have been saying for years here about the opposition party in this country. The opposition party, which we call the Democrats, they're a bunch of pussies and have been a bunch of pussies and a bunch of pearl clutching. But what if this happens? People fucking hate them. They hate that, especially the people who are watching what we've got as a result of that and thinking, wouldn't it be great if somebody could stand up to them? Because that is not what the Democrats do. When a Democrat gets yelled at by some ignorant MAGA guy, well, you're fat and stupid. When they say that, the Democrats respond with, well, I've never been so insulted in my life. Shut the fuck up and fight back. We would like to see you fight back. All right. So this is what Platner is, or Planter, or whatever. This is what maybe Nazi, maybe rapey Platner is there in Maine. Seems to be a tough guy, working class Democrat. He's for the people. He's for the working man. And that's been his whole presentation. Unfortunately, over the last few months, as he's been running, everybody's apparently got a social media history. Stay off Reddit. Stay off Reddit. Everything that kills someone's career once they begin to advance to a higher stage, it's always Reddit. It's always a Reddit post from 2016 that comes back and bites you in the ass. So that's what's going on with this guy, this Platner guy, over the course of his upstart run to unseat Susan Collins there. That's the general in November. This is still just the Democratic primary. He's expected to win. But the general is what we're talking about against Susan Collins. Anyway, over the course of the last couple of months of the rise of Graham Platner, there have been a lot of things revealed about who this guy is in his past. Some of it pretty damn troubling, okay? He's a military guy. That's a whole part of his brand. Unlike those other, Republicans, I actually served and I did multiple tours, and he did, and God bless him. He seems to be a legit warrior of the warrior class. He says he went through some shit. Apparently suffers from PTSD. At least that's the excuse that he's using for a whole bunch of things that were discovered. Like, he's not real great with women. Like, I'll give you an example. He got married to his wife. This ought to tell you all you know about this man as a person and whether or not you think he is fit to represent you. Now, I also say this about President Trump. Remember, President Trump is the guy who paid a porn star for a night during a golf outing while his wife was pregnant with Barron, right? That's who President Trump is. That is not a good human being. That is not what a man does while his pregnant wife is at home. That's bullshit. And that ought to be disqualifying to everybody who considers himself a decent person. That Trump did that. fucked a porn star while his wife was pregnant. You don't cheat on your wife when she's pregnant. That is like, even if you are a cheater, even if you are going to cheat 10 years into your marriage or whatever, or start fucking your secretary, you don't cheat on your wife when she's pregnant. My God, that's like... She is going through it all. You have one job, to be the provider and to be there no matter what for her. And if you're fucking a porn star at a golf outing in Oregon, or wherever it was. Anyway, that's just one of the character issues that I have with the liar in chief. He's a piece of shit human being. So is Graham Platner. I'm sorry, so is this Platner guy. I have to be consistent. So one of the things that he did, and he did it, and his wife admits he did it, and he admits he did it. This is something that he did. This is a choice that he made because this is the kind of person he is. He's married to his wife for like a week, and he's carrying on a sexting relationship with another fucking woman. He's a newlywed. He's like, I just got married, but I'm still keeping him on the side. You're a piece of shit. You can't even be loyal to your fucking wife, and you expect the people of Maine to be like, oh, well, he's truthfully telling us he's going to fight for us. You didn't even stand with your wife in the weeks after your marriage. You're still carrying on bullshit with other girls. That is disqualifying to me from a character issue. All right, so also, now we got the thing about the Nazi tattoo, right? This Platner guy, apparently when he was in the Marines, he says, you got Marines, Army, whatever. We got drunk. We were in Berlin, right? Which makes it even worse. And we got, a giant Nazi, whatever it is. He got a tattoo while he was is it on his back? I think it's on his back. He got a tattoo when he was in Germany that is like a Nazi symbol. And he claims that he didn't know it was a Nazi symbol. Okay, here we go. Let me break this down for you. He was in Germany and he wanted to get a tattoo. They were drunk. Of course they are, because that's when military guys who get tattoos, that's, you're usually drunk. He was drunk and he claims that he looked at all of these logos on the wall and he chose one that he thought looked cool. And he had that put on his back. And, somebody from his campaign made an actual really good point about this, which is in Germany, any overt Nazi imagery or anything like that is very illegal. You cannot display swastikas or any things that are obviously, homage to the Nazi regime. That's a rule. That's a law in Germany. So as someone from Platner's campaign said a long time ago, they said, well, first of all, he walked into a German tattoo shop where this was prominently displayed among the choices of things you can get. If the German people themselves thought that this was a direct thing to the Nazis, it would be illegal and it wouldn't be up there. They wouldn't offer it at a tattoo shop. Certainly not a big, busy tourist tattoo shop. Now, technically, the tattoo that he got was an insignia that was used by a German group, the Fluftenflafla or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a nerd. I'm not a dork who learns all of this shit. You know what I'm saying? There was a Nazi wing, a group of soldiers, a battalion or something that used this symbol. However, the symbol predates them using it, and that's why it's allowed to be tattooed. Anyway, this guy gets that tattoo. He comes over here. They're like, you got a Nazi tattoo? You're a Nazi. He's like, I didn't know it was a Nazi tattoo. I thought it looked cool. Fucking believe him. 100% believe him on that. 100. I have a friend who's got an Iron Cross. An Iron Cross is widely considered to be an homage to German imperialism in the Nazi regime. He didn't get it because he's Nazi. He got it because he plays guitar in a metal band. And he got it in 1990 or whatever, He's not a Nazi. He just, it looks fucking cool, man. It was fucking metal. So yes, so I believe that Graham Platner didn't walk into a German tattoo shop and go, give me something Nazi-esque. No, he was drunk and he's like, should you get a tattoo? Are you going to go? Dude, if you get one, I'll get one. Dude, let's get one. All right, what do you want? Fuck, that's badass. I want that. That's probably all the thought he put into it. So I believe that. I don't believe he's a Nazi. I do believe he's a piece of shit who even his wife can't trust. It's a much bigger problem for me because that speaks to the actual man, not Well, I fucking thought it looked cool, right? I can excuse the Nazi thing because, again, I got a friend who has a tattoo that we all called Nazi tattoo, and he's like, I didn't know! It's like, so I get it. I understand that. He was a dumb, drunk military guy wanting to get a cool piece of art on his body that, represents his time in Germany. So that's that. But he's not good about the other things, the women stuff. Now, here's the other issue. He's got a whole bunch of allegations, okay? Remember, this is a guy, an oyster farmer, who's presenting himself as the working man's guy, and I'm gonna fight for you, and the working class needs to come back to the Democratic Party because nobody supports the worker the way the Democratic Party, right? That's his whole thing. It's all bullshit because, once again, we've got another fucking silver spoon rich kid born on third base walking around cosplaying like he's a dock worker. That's what this guy is. This guy grew up in one of the wealthiest families in the state of New Hampshire, and now he's walking around acting and presenting himself like he's some lowly oyster farmer who lives on $60,000 a year. He and his wife, that's what we make from our oyster farm. We understand the difficulties of American life these days. We make $60,000 a year, which everybody points out is bullshit. Yes, the income that you claim from the job that you go to only pays you 60 grand a year. But unlike everybody else who makes 60 grand a year, they don't have the safety net of generational wealth like you do. When his father dies, he's going to be like worth $50 million. Can you still pull off the heavily tattooed former Marine working class guy? I don't fucking think so. And this is what's happening. I've been screaming for years on this show about how we, the working class of this country, need to start electing our own kind. Well, guess what's happening? The rich class, the elite class, the 1% class is recognizing this thirst on our part, and they're cosplaying for us. They're cosplaying. Rich guy, Grand Planner's like, well, what if I just present? How do you think he got to run for Senate? You think just a $60,000 a year oyster farmer gets a chance to unseat Susan Collins because he's just truly representative of the forgotten class? No. He got the chance to run because over the years, his family has made massive political donations to different Democratic parties there in the state of New Hampshire, and the family was connected. That's how he got where he is. They looked at him and they went, are you really an oyster farmer? And he's like, well, it was a hobby. And they're like, oh, well, maybe we can play that up and you can run as a real New Hampshirean. And people say that you were born rich. We'll just sweep that aside. So that bothers me about him. Bothers me about him that he is cosplaying as a working man when he comes from elite wealth status. It bothers me that he couldn't stay faithful to his wife for 6 months after their marriage. And it doesn't bother me that he's got a Nazi tattoo, because I think that's just a stupid, dumb guy thing. There are also some other sexual issues, like apparently he dated a lot of girls who are now coming forward and saying that this guy's a creep. I have no doubt. Let's see here. June 2026. Well, that's recent from the New York Times. This just came out last week. A June 2026 expose in the New York Times detailed accounts from 3 former girlfriends who described his past relationship behavior as volatile, toxic, and demeaning. All right, well, quite frankly, I could probably be described as all of those by, nah. Look, I've got a lot of exes. I don't have any exes that hate me. I don't think that there is one. I don't think that there's a girl who I had sex with who hates me. I mean, they should, because, probably the worst they ever had. But they don't. I have a great relationship with everybody that I've been in a relationship with. If I were to run for office, I would be shocked if anybody that I had a romantic relationship with, if they came forward and said anything. It's not that they didn't see me act like an asshole from time to time, because I do that. But it would shock me if they would come forward and think that defines me. You know what I mean? I have a good relationship with, I got 2 ex-wives I have great relationships with. All my ex-girlfriends I have great relationships with. It's always weird to me when you run into a guy and he's like, yeah, my fucking bitch ex. I'm like, oh, you're the problem. You're the problem. If you describe your ex as the bitch ex, I think there's a good chance that you might be the problem. Anyway, physical intimidation. The New York Times this month detailed accounts from 3 former girlfriends who described Platner and his past relationship behavior as volatile, toxic, and demeaning. Most notably, a former partner named Lindsay Fifield alleged that Platner routinely grabbed her shoulders hard enough to leave marks, yanked her out of a cab by the wrist, twisted her arm behind her back. That's a problem. That's a problem because, we've all had that, where they twist their arm. You can't do that to a woman. You can't do that to a girlfriend. That one's bad. The rubbing of the shoulders too hard is relative, okay? I need more. I need more context about you claiming he was rubbing your shoulders too hard. I don't think that's necessarily disqualifying. What was the other one? Yanked her out of a cab by her wrist. Come on, let's go. I mean, I guess you can't do that, but that doesn't seem all that troubling to me. Twisting her arm behind her back is troubling. That shows that, he is going to manhandle a weaker partner in any way that he can. And, you just don't do it. You don't do that to your kids, right? You don't do that to your wife or your girlfriend. You don't put their arm in. That's, what else? It says he grabbed her shoulders hard enough to leave marks, yanked her out of a cab by her wrist, twisted her arm behind her back, and forced her into a bedroom while blocking the door. That's not even a full sentence. I need way more context before I can have an opinion on that. And he forced her into a bedroom while blocking the door. Not enough information there. I'm sorry. I cannot condemn on that. You're going to need to give me more. The same report from the New York Times spoke to other ex-partners who alleged a pattern of violent episodes, heavy drinking, and rape fantasies. Okay, accumulatively, this is all becoming a problem because, as I said, I don't think that if I ran for something, I would be shocked if anybody that I ever had a relationship with would come forward, and I'd be shocked if any of them didn't vote for me because I honestly think that I'm still friendly with them all, and they know I'm good. They know I'm not a monster or anything. Anyway, the fact that this guy's got all these girlfriends coming out going, he's a dick is one. Is he a man slut? Maybe, apparently. Remember, he got married and, still had to have the hot sexting shit with some other girl. So he's a man slut, but also they all hate him. So he is just a complete asshole. They all hate him. The same report from ex-partners allege a pattern of violent episodes, heavy drinking, and rape fantasies. Separate from personal allegations, Platner faced intense backlash for a series of now deleted Reddit posts. Oh, here we go. Reddit posts. Now deleted Reddit posts from roughly a decade ago. In those posts, he blamed rape survivors for not protecting themselves. Wrote that they should, quote, just take some responsibility for themselves, and told victims of rape to, quote, act like an adult. His response to all this is PTSD. All right, screw this guy. This guy is just bad news. He's a rich kid cosplaying as a working class dude with a whole history of being an asshole. He's another one of these Fettermans, man. Fetterman is another one of these guys, the sweatpants and hoodie billionaire. Fetterman grew up a rich kid, and he walks around presenting like, I represent the Democratic Working Class Party. Fetterman's a rich kid. Platner's a rich kid. We got to stop electing rich people. That is the problem. We got to stop electing rich people because they tell us what we think we want to hear. It's what we do. Just stop it. These people are all broken. All right, there you have it. Anyway, that's going to happen tonight in Maine. Find out exactly what the future of senatorial candidate Graham Platner is there. I think he's probably going to win. I do. I think he's probably going to win, but we'll see. Let's see. What else do we want to do here? You know what we do want to do? It's 2:00. Wow, we've been on for a while. Let me take a quick break. Let me get a cup of coffee, okay, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap up the show. We got a whole when I say wrap up the show, I mean we got like another good hour plus of content here. So we'll do that. Give me a quick break. I want to remind you one more time that this week's pledge, or I'm sorry, so far this pledge week, we've got some heroes. Let's thank Peter and Barney. Peter and Barney both supported this show. Opposition talk. It's not right. It's not left. It's normal people talk. Peter and Barney are today's Pledge Week heroes. If you want your name added to that list, you need to drop a little something in either the Venmo or the Cash App. It'll ensure that we can pay our bills and keep this show going for another month. So please help us out with whatever you can. But if I'm being honest, we got a long way to go. I haven't even put the number out because, help us out. I'm going to take a quick break, okay? Get a cup of coffee, go to the restroom, check on my kid, make sure he's not shooting heroin in the bathroom. I'm kidding, obviously. All right, quick break. We'll be back. Give me a couple minutes. All right, we're back. Thank you for that quick break there. I got my cup of coffee and, all right, thank you, chat room. We know. We have a verdict. Wow. Holy shit. Do you remember what I told you about how I thought it would be a quick verdict, but they might at least wait the hour the way that, to make it look good? No. I don't think they waited the hour. I'd like to see how much time it was actually between the time that they were sequestered and the time that they announced that they had a decision. But holy shit. You remember the judge told them to bring an overnight bag because you may have to be sequestered overnight. First of all, I didn't think the closing arguments would be over by lunch. This is an expedient trial. Raises a lot of questions. But whatever. All right, so we've got a decision. Hasn't been announced yet, but I can pretty much tell you it'll be guilty. There's no way that the jury sequesters that short a period of time and then comes back with not guilty. No way. There was just almost no defense. I mean, we know there was an admission of guilt. If there was some long drawn up contemplation about, what the penalty should be for this, was it a crime of passion? Was he not thinking? Was it motive? There's no discussion at all. They just got together and went, is he guilty or innocent? And I'm telling you, they all come back. Obviously, they've all come back guilty, because if it was not guilty, it would have taken longer to hash through that. Wow. Crazy. All right. So we are awaiting the decision. I don't know this. Usually when the jury says they've reached a decision, they have to call back everybody. So they give them like a half hour, right? A half hour or so. Everybody gets a text. Come on back. The jury's reached a decision. So, the lawyer who went back to his office or, whoever, they all got to rush on back. So this is going to take about a half hour or so. I don't know. Everything about this trial has been way faster than anything I've ever seen, especially for a trial that is so much in the national spotlight. Of course, we're talking about the murder of Austin Metcalf. Carmelo Anthony is charged with murdering Austin Metcalf after Carmelo Anthony, a high school student, Austin Metcalf, also a high school student. They were gathered for a regional track meet. They got into a little thing. Carmelo Anthony pulled a pocket knife and stabbed him. That's not even in debate. It's like, we know that's what happened. Wow. Anyway, I really thought that it would take a little bit longer. So let's jump on. Let's do this. Let's see. Here's what we'll do. We'll check out Twitter because this is going to be some ugly stuff, guys. Are you ready to see America at its finest or Texas? Because I have to tell you, I've been scrolling this for the last 5 minutes, and some of the absolute worst people, okay, with the worst fucking takes on this, racist takes, like, the N-word and all that. Oh, they all have the Texas flag in there. Yeah, Texas. I mean, you can be like me and any normal person and go, yeah, this kid killed another kid, open and close. This kid, I don't care why he killed him. He needs to pay because there's a family that is mourning the loss of their son. Okay, that's it. Open and shut. You can have that opinion and not use the N-word. You can. I know it seems hard, Texans, but you can. Anyway, let's check this out. This is, all right, we're going to look at the live thread on the Carmelo Anthony hash. So we'll get the most up-to-date stuff. Let's see, what are we looking at here? All right. Let's renew it. Let's refresh it. This one says it was a minute ago. Let's refresh. Let's see what the latest is. Waiting on the announced verdict in the Carmelo Anthony murder trial. How do I phrase it? Did I phrase that wrong? Is it really retry? Is it the Carmelo Anthony murder trial or is it the Austin Metcalf murder trial? Because it was Austin Metcalf who was murdered. I don't know. How do we phrase that? What's the proper way to do that? Oh my God, this is why I would need an editor. Hey, somebody help me. Go see the editor. How do I phrase this? All right, let's see. The first one here says American Freedom Legal Fund. The Carmelo Anthony verdict is in 6 seconds ago. Okay, not a big deal. The next one here, Justice Watchdog says a person cannot provoke a confrontation, escalate it, and then successfully claim self-defense after using deadly force. But the Carmelo Anthony case has been racialized and radicalized, so now they mostly pander to the mob. I don't know what that's about. Seems like the Carmelo Anthony supporters are already getting agitated outside the courtroom, says Second Amendment. Common Sense says all of these bought, paid for. I mean, that's what these are. These are special interests. American Freedom Legal Fund, Justice Watchdog, Second Amendment. None of these are Bob Howley or Maggie Thomas. No, they're all just these trying to control the narrative. Senior Junior, he says, shut up, retard. We're all talking about Carmelo Anthony. All right. Noticing expert, be honest. Who looks like the reasonable party here? And then they're showing a video outside the courthouse after they announced a verdict has been reached in the Carmelo Anthony trial. All right, let's watch this. What are we looking at here? Oh, I'm guessing these are the two sides. I'm just guessing that the old white man in the American flag shirt is on one side and the black guy jumping around like a fucking fool is on the other side. Let's see what's happening here. This is outside the courthouse in Frisco, right?
The facts of the case and what we've seen play out since then, and what we're the judge as well in this case said it was not a case about race, but you cannot deny that just the facts of the case and what we've seen play out since then and what we're watching.
These big ass Texas cop, like, well, come on, man. What are you doing? What is this guy doing? I mean, what is this? And then this guy, why is this guy egging it on? He is egging it on just standing there. This guy should just be like, oh, this is stupid, and just walk away. But no, they're performing.
Happening now is because the defendant is black, the victim is white, and that's the bottom line. But again, this is what I alluded to when I.
This is just such a bad look overall for all Americans. Yikes! All right, we don't need that. Let's see. Anything new? Oh, it is nice that we didn't have to share any overtly racist posts there. We only did the first 4 and none were overtly racist. More from outside the courthouse. All right, let's look at this. People are saying there's going to be riots, and I'm like, I lived in Frisco. I don't see like full scale. Let's watch. Hold on. This is outside the courthouse. I don't know what's going on there. I have no idea what's going on. I just hear some lady screaming in the background. Let's see. After the not guilty verdict for the Asian store owner in the fatal shooting of a black teen, this man claims the jury got. I don't care. We don't care. We don't care. We're looking for an announcement. Hold on. Looks like Maddie might have sent me something. Enter my passcode. What the fuck, Twitter? I don't have a passcode for Twitter. I sure as hell. What? Sure as hell ain't gonna share it. All right, let's see here. Is that my pass? It's my passcode for everything. How could it not be my passcode for this? Twitter's spinning. It's deciding if that passcode is the passcode. Come on, man. Seriously, I can't access my messages. Are you fucking kidding me? Hold on, guys. Seriously, I'm trying to, but all of a sudden now, Twitter, my direct messages, now I have to have a code? Never have I had to have a code before, but, and it's just spinning. It's just spinning. Okay. Let's try it again. Sorry, guys. It's spinning. Oh, there it went. Oh, finally. Freaking passcode. All right. I know I just got sent something. Let's see here. Come on. All right, so I was sent two things. One comes from a Twitter account of a Sheldon Daniels. He says, I practice law in Collin County, Texas. Carmelo Anthony will be convicted and sentenced to life in prison, as he should. He murdered that boy because he was raised to hate white people and to view himself as a victim in every situation. It's a culture thing. Okay. Sure. Pastor Ben, he's a pastor. He loves the Lord. He says Carmelo Anthony did what he had to do to get away from a racist ass, violent ass, harassing ass, assaulting ass, cocky ass white boy who thought he could assault a black child. Fuck around and find out, it says. Tell your rabid little children to stop putting their hands on black. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't think I needed any of that. All right. Let's go back to it. Let's see. I'm just looking for some kind of an update on when they expect the announcement. That's all I want right now. I know that there's not going to be an announcement in the next 2 minutes, probably a half hour from now. They've reached a verdict in the Carmel. Can't wait to find out who'll be riding. And then the next one is he's been found guilty. I don't know that that's from some guy named John Matrix who's just trying to get clicks. Let's see here. I need like a legacy source, if you will, to post that he's been found guilty. Whether it be the New York Times, ABC News, Fox News, I need a legacy source. All right, awaiting the Carmelo and okay, 19-year-old Carmelo Anthony. No, Shannon Hill. Shannon Hill is posting. She looks like a nice Midwestern mom. She's posting that he's been found guilty because we all believe a nice Midwestern mom. I mean, quite frankly, I fully expect him to be found guilty. I mean, everything is telling me he's going to be found guilty, but this is not. Shannon is not right. It hasn't been announced, not by any legacy sources anyway. All right. I'll tell you what, I don't know how long this is going to take. I'll try and keep monitoring the chat room. We've got certainly capable and qualified people in the chat room, whether it be April or Maddie or Byron or any Adam, anybody, you guys. I can't name everybody, okay? You're all capable. God, why do I have such guilt over my chickens? I never want my chickens to think that I like one better than the other. Is this like a parenting thing? I don't know. Anyway, someone in the chat room, you're going to have to let me know when there is an actual verdict and something that's been, credibly reported. Not by just, not Byron. Like Byron's probably on Twitter right now, found guilty. All right, Barney, let's start with Barney. Barney says, I'm hearing that since the verdict is in this early, they will, if found guilty, move into sentencing phase today. See, again, that's not how it's done. There's a whole nother thing that has to be done, and the sentencing is always like 3 weeks later. I don't know. What a day. What a day. Barney goes on to say what that probably means is they unanimously found him guilty on the first vote, but then they want, well, I guess he didn't say that, but Barney and I think me both feel the same way. Barney says, so probably a unanimous on the first vote, but they wanted the free lunch. I don't know, man. I think they want this over with as quick as possible, the jury, because the free lunch is nice, but I think what they really want is to be able to step out on the steps and be treated like royalty by the press who are going to ask them all kinds of questions. That's what they want to get to. That's the fun part. Where you get to go on the news today and hang out with Karen Borda. Is she even on the news anymore? Is Karen Borda still a CBS? Or do they get rid of her? I don't know. I always liked her. I always thought she was so cute. I always thought Karen Bordeaux was like the one like news chick that I could date. That I thought, because she had that she had a bit of a bitchy edge, you know. I mean, Heather Hayes, she was hot, but you know, I always kind of crushed on Karen Bordeaux. I used to like when she would do the news wearing a turtleneck, like a skin tight turtleneck, and then a black leather jacket over it. She looked like that's a cool chick. Anyway. And she pulled it all off with like a Karen haircut, which is weird. I know I shouldn't be sexually attracted to the Karen haircut, but it was 2006, so don't hold it against me. All right, let's get back into more. Let's see. We're watching for the Carmelo Anthony verdict. In the meantime, let's watch how people behaved after the New York Knicks lost Game 3 there in Madison Square Garden. We've got some video here, so let's talk about that. We are all animals. Here, let's see here. All right, what's this first thing? Oh, so let me tell you something. Let me tell you a rule of thumb that I have. I have been to see my hometown teams in away stadiums many times. Certainly in Dallas. I mean, I've seen the Blackhawks play a couple of times. I've seen the Bulls play a couple of times. I saw the Bears play every time they played the Cowboys in Dallas. I've seen the White Sox. I mean, I would go to watch the White Sox when they played, the Rangers. I never, ever, just out of pure respect, I never attend an away game decked out in the uniform of my team. Just not because I'm afraid or not because of, I just think it's bad taste. I'm watching my team play on the road. I don't need to be wearing my team's jersey and hat and all that. I don't think there's anything overtly wrong with people who do that. I just don't because I'm like, I don't need the fucking trouble, because one out of every 100 dudes will be drunk and be like, take the fucking hat off. And now I'm getting into a fight on the concourse. Just avoid that whole thing. Don't poke the bear. There's no reason for it. The only exception to this, and this is kind of funny because it might be the most dangerous situation of any, I will wear White Sox gear to Wrigley Field when the White Sox are playing the Cubs. And maybe, it's an away game, but it's also, we're still in my city and I feel confident that there are other people who will have my back. That's the only exception to the rule. If I watch the Bears play the Cowboys at Texas Stadium, I'm not wearing a Bears. I'm not wearing a Bears jersey. I do think that kids should be able to. I do think that, because my son, whenever I take my kid to Chicago team games in Dallas, he always wore the uniform. He always wore the jersey. But kids can, right? It's a more innocent thing with kids. I don't know that a 45-year-old drunk trucker is going to start a fight with a 12-year-old because he's wearing the other team's jersey. At least, my God, I hope not. But grown-ups, we don't need to poke the bear. All right, so a whole bunch of people went to Madison Square Garden last night wearing their Knicks gear. And nothing excuses the behavior of these New York City animals in the way they treated people wearing Spurs gear on the street. Nothing excuses that. But I do say, this is exactly why I have this rule. You have your own rules. You live your life the way you want, but I have assessed the situation, made a choice, and decided that I'm probably better off if I go with the choice to not. You're a pussy. No, I'm not. I'm a smart grown-up who just wants to avoid any kind of bullshit and who knows that I exist in a world that is just endless bullshit. So here we go. Here's some video. This is not fun. This is a Spurs fan on the street of New York following the Knicks. Look at this guy. The Knicks lost. Here he's just walking down the street. Look at these animals. These are animals. Pugs, you're a racist. Am I? They're human beings who are behaving like animals. Look at this. Look at this absurdity. Mob mentality, the hive mind, man, the hive mind. You get with 50 other people who are all following one idiot. Well, he's doing it. It must be okay for me to do it. And then the next guy goes, well, I'm going to do it if they're doing it. Fucking hive mind. Dummies here. These are dumb people. If you've ever found yourself in this situation, congratulations, you're a dumb person. Fucking stomping them. It's absolutely disgusting, New York. Disgusting. What else do we have? Oh, and, by the way, the Knicks fan, because they're all stupid animals, look at how they behave with one another. It ain't just other Spurs fans that they're beating up and curb stomping. And yeah, there's video of curb stomping as well. No, they're fighting with each other. And I'm going to pause it here, and I'm going to show you the most disturbing aspect of modern life. Okay? We're going to watch these animals, and then I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to show you what's wrong with society. The fuck is that? Come from a cop family. The fuck is that? 50 cops just standing there? At the very least, if the cops get involved, it'll end. They'll all start running. Cops just standing there. This is what's wrong. This is what's wrong. I'm sure there's a million good reasons why they're not entering this fray. Look at this. They're just standing there. This guy, his arm is in his side. He's just like, oh, let the animals just destroy the city and we'll clean up. Respond to this. Do you think anybody in 2026 would really have a reaction the way they had in 1968 when Mayor of Chicago ordered the cops to crack skulls? Do you really think that still in 2026, looking at this, the endless video of people getting curb stomped, that Spurs fan who couldn't walk down the fucking street in New York in a jersey from another team without getting attacked by 100 people? Do you think that in 2026, if we saw all these cops pull out their clubs and just start breaking skulls, do you think we'd react the same way we did in 68? Because I don't think we would. I would be perfectly okay with these cops arresting everybody they can and cracking the skulls of anybody that is trying to beat the fuck out of another citizen on a sidewalk. This is not hard, people. This is not hard. Well, there we go. Now we got one. One's going in. One out. Yeah. All right. Here we go. They're about to break a store window. We better get involved. Can't have Tiffany's corporate calling the mayor. Absurd. Absurd. Well done, New York. Well done. All right, here. They also just started destroying their own city because they lost. This is in Bryant Park. Bryant Park is just a couple of blocks away from Madison Square Garden. It's about 2 blocks south, maybe 1 block west. I don't know. Bryant Park. Here it is. Let's watch this. New Yorkers processing the loss of a really tight game. See, I could see being this upset if your team got blown out and completely disappointed you. But this was a hell of a well-fought game that we all watched. This is not how you should behave after that. I mean, you recognize that this kind of mayhem and chaos is not condoned, but at least it's expected when they win something. When you win the final game and you blow the Spurs out and it's over and you're celebrating, that's when we're used to seeing this. But now, over a game 3 loss, this is a game 3 loss. They have more games to be played. What the hell is going on in society? That's it. Everybody film it. Everybody film it. All right. People of New York, you embarrassed yourself last night. And don't, be blaming it on Trump. Trump shouldn't have gone. He had nothing to do with the way these people behaved. I mean, he shouldn't have gone. He should not have gone. Well, maybe he should not have gone. But him going this is not anything to do with, this has to do with people not knowing how to behave in civilized society. I don't know if this is generational. They all are. They all appear to be of the same generation. I don't know if it's generational. We've certainly had riots before. Never after a game 3 loss. This is new. Then don't you kind of get the feeling that this was ginned up to happen? Don't you get the feeling that because all the news since, it was announced that there would be a game 3 in New York City was, oh, New York races, oh, security, oh, they're worried about this, oh. They kind of gin this up. They kind of set the table. And by who set the table? The media. This isn't the city of New York taking all the precautions they need to take. They would do that as a matter of bureaucracy. The whole reason that we know about it is because the media was like, they're scared. They're scared something might happen. Something might happen. Something might happen. They've got security. So what does that do? Some idiot watching it goes, oh, it's going to be wild. Everybody's going down. The media does this. They gin it up. They scare us. Going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy when some idiot who consumes this media goes, I heard it's going to be crazy. Let's go. Anyway, all right. There was some fun to be had. Did you see all the celebrities at the game last night? There was a whole bunch of them. Here, let me show you this cadre of ghouls. Look at this. This is, let's point these guys out to you, as I call cadre of ghouls. All right, there they are. Let's go down this list, shall we? Who is this guy? I know who this guy is. Doesn't he kind of look like Stephen Jones? Is that Stephen Jones? Kind of looks like Stephen Jones, doesn't it to me? Anyway, doesn't matter. He's probably a billionaire of some like, because look at the way he's sitting and look at he's doing the ironic sloppy billionaire thing. That's right. I'm so rich I can dress like a poor man. So I don't know who that guy is. Oh my God. Oh, is that? Okay. All right. So this guy, the hands here. All right. I've got a list of who these people are now. Sorry. I didn't see that. So this guy's hands here. See the hands? This is New England Patriots owner, Robert Kraft. He's the guy who likes to get jerked off in massage parlors. That's what he does. He's a billionaire, and for kicks, he goes into those rundown massage parlors that you see next to a nail salon and a check cashing place, and he goes in and he gets the happy ending. That's who this guy is, his hands. That's what we know about him. He's also good friends with the president. This is David Zaslav. David Zaslav is a media monster there. What does David Zaslav own now? Or run? Not own. He's a runner. He's one of these executives. Hold on. Is it Warner Brothers? Maybe. What is David Zaslav in control of these days? He's been in control of a bunch of things. Zazzle? It came up Zazzled. All right. Sorry. He's the CEO of Warner Brothers. Yeah. Warner Brothers Discovery. All right. So that's who that is. So sitting next to the owner of the New England Patriots, whose hands are right here, is Robert Kraft. And then this is David Zaslav. He is the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery. Here we've got Curbman yourself, Larry David. Larry David sitting there. Larry David, he famously, of course, one of the early seasons of Curb Your Enthusiasm, had courtside seats for a Lakers game and accidentally tripped Shaquille O'Neal, causing him to miss 6 weeks. That was funny. And then it turned out that Shaq was a big Seinfeld fan, so Larry had to go to Shaq's hotel room and watch Seinfeld episodes with him. That's a good episode. All right, so that's what we got. We got the billionaire owner of the New England Patriots. We got the billionaire CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery. We've got Larry David, who honestly doesn't really fit here. Although he's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of money from owning Curb and Seinfeld. So, there's probably $1 billion there. These two guys are very interesting. These two fellas right here. These are the Emanuel brothers. The Emanuel brothers, the most, Jesus, I could only imagine being the mother of the Emanuel brothers. The Emanuel brothers are three brothers who basically run the world almost. The brother who's not seated is I don't know. Let's call him. It's some real Jewish name, like a real traditionally Jewish name. Let's call him Shlomo. Let's call it Shlomo Emanuel. Okay, that's the brother who's not pictured. He's one of the world's most revered surgeons. He's like one of the most important surgeons in the history of the fucking world. He's like invented things, and that's the brother we don't know. All right, the guy in the green is Ari Emanuel. Ari Emanuel is the CEO of Endeavor Agency, which is the largest talent agency in the world. Ari Emanuel, the man in the green here, is the base character for Ari Gold from the show Entourage. Okay? Remember Entourage? Jeremy Piven played Ari Emanuel, but they couldn't call him Ari Emanuel because, that probably wouldn't be good for anybody's career. So they called him Ari Gold. So that's the real Ari Gold from Entourage right here. And he is the second Emanuel brother, not the world leading heart surgeon. That's the second one. All right, here you got Rahm Emanuel. Of course, we all know him, former White House chief of staff, former congressman, long-term congressman out of Illinois, turned Obama's chief of staff. He was a Clinton compatriot. He was then mayor of Chicago for about 20 years. And he's running for president. That's right. We got these ghouls: Rahm Emanuel, Ari Emanuel, Larry David, David Zaslav, and New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft. A cadre of ghouls. Also, who else did we have? We had the regulars. Oh, wait, actually, I'll give you a whole list of the celebrities who were in attendance, the other celebrities. Pretty good list right there courtside. Remember, those courtside seats were going individually for about $100,000 each. That's not to say that any of these people paid that because that's just the secondary market. I'm sure these people got these tickets from people who give these tickets to celebrities. So here are some of the big celebrities that were in attendance who had to make their way through that scene outside Madison Square Garden, the scene of people getting curb stomped and chased down the street and cops just standing there doing nothing. Of course, we had the President of the United States. He was there. He took a nap. He got booed and took a nap. He didn't get booed to the extent that people are trying to say he did, because he didn't. I watched it live. I don't know, unless they were doing something with the mics. It didn't sound like thunderous boos, as was described by the Washington Times correspondent. But he did fall asleep. So there you go. President Trump was there. Zohran Mamdani, the mayor of New York City, was there, not seated with the president, but he was also there. We saw Michael Bloomberg, former mayor of New York City, seated courtside. Who was it? Was it Jalen Brunson? Somebody. One of the Knicks went into the stands and landed on like 105-year-old Michael Bloomberg during the game yesterday. That was fun. Al Sharpton was there. Too bad he couldn't get curb stomped out front. What else do we have? Actors and filmmakers. Timothy Chalamet, he was there. We saw him. Spike Lee was there. Ben Stiller and Christine Taylor, they're always there. Tina Fey, saw her. She's looking dumpy. I'm sorry. Tina Fey, I look at Tina Fey and I'm like, why are you going to the game? You look dumpy. All right. I like Tina. I just think she looked a little dumpy. We also had Mariska Hargitay and Christopher Maloney. They, of course, of Law & Order SVU. Are they a thing? They're always doing stuff together. I know they're in the show together, but are they a thing? They appear so much together in public that I wonder if they're a thing. Larry David, we talked about him. Greta Gerwig, we talked about her. Josh Shafty, don't know who that is. I mean, I know the name because I'm pop culturally aware, but I don't know who Josh Shafty is. And John Turturro. Didn't see John Turturro. Musicians in attendance last night. We had Jay-Z, Cardi B, Fat Joe, DJ Khaled. Comedians. Oh my God. Funny comedians there. Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Tracy Morgan, Jon Stewart, and Pete Davidson were all in attendance. And then, of course, there was New York and otherworldly sports royalty in attendance. Derek Jeter and A-Rod seated next to each other. That's weird, right? I thought they didn't like each other. You had Eli Manning and Justin Tuck, a couple of giant legends. How about Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor, the Mets? They were there. New York Knicks royalty, Patrick Ewing and Walt Clyde Frazier were there. Jeremy Lin was there. Lin Sanity was in the house. Of course, we mentioned Robert Kraft. And then there was a whole bunch of models and stupid influencers that I will not mention because they're not famous and nobody should be impressed by them being in attendance. All right, there you have it. That was last night's game. When's Thursday? It's Thursday game 4. I don't know, man. The Spurs win game 4, and whoa, we got ourselves a real series here, man. I was shocked. I will watch game 4 because game 3 last night, the New York Knicks lost their first game in like over a month, right? Aren't the Knicks on some insane winning streak? Well, or were. Anyway, there you have it. There you have it. That was last night's celebs in attendance. Okay, let's do the Death Trilogy. Yeah, I wanted to do a little bit of a catch up on the Death Trilogy because we like to do a full accounting. Celebrities die in threes. We know this. So on January 1st every year, I start, all right, who's the first celebrity to die this year? And we start building the trilogy. 3 celebrities must die within 10 days of each other in order to be an official trilogy, right? Or, oh, and why? Why is it a trilogy? Well, here's why. We all know they die in threes. I can tell you why. Here's why. Because in heaven, they have a celebrity wing, and the celebrity wing is just this beautiful gated golf course community, and they have 3-bedroom condos, and celebrities must live for all eternity in a 3-bedroom condo together, dependent upon when they die. That's the trilogy. They live together. All right, so we do have to add somebody new into the trilogy. I talked about Stacey last night. I'm telling you, we are 48 hours from beloved Chicago Bulls play-by-play guy, 3-time champion, just bigger than life, purely Chicago media personality, although national. You know, they mentioned him last night during the game and all that, and there was a very nice little tribute to him. Stacey King, 59 years old, died suddenly in his home on Sunday after a fall. Still don't have the details. Apparently he fell and hit his head and he died. For 20 years, he has been the reason that people have watched Bulls games in this town because there haven't been a whole lot of, really great teams to get behind. But this man made watching Bulls games a joy. And the other thing that I cannot stop stressing, I know we see this a lot when people die, but we hear people coming out of the woodwork going, there wasn't a soul that disliked him. He was just nothing but wonderful and beautiful. It's true about this guy. I mean, it is true about Stacey King. Stacey King was just the most lovable, joyful, kind, and because of his 20 years as the color broadcaster for the Chicago Bulls, beloved in this city. He should have been there another 20 years. Harry Carey, we think about people like that in this. Harry Carey, Hawk Harrelson, Pat Foley with the Blackhawks, Johnny Red Kerr with the Chicago Bulls before Stacey King. These people mean something to the fans of these teams because we haven't had a lot of good teams. And so the reason we watch is because the people who are telling us what's happening with these bad teams are either interesting or one of us. And Stacey King was absolutely one of us. And to have him die, my God, I mean, there was a thing on the news last night about this guy, this car dealer here in Chicago who is putting up 8 billboards around town without even putting his car dealership's name on it. Just billboard that say, rest in peace, Stacey King. That's how beloved this dude was. Anyway, here's a really nice tribute, and I wanted to share this with you because he was just such a cool guy. And I never met him. Just, I've met a lot of these guys here in Chicago because I have friends who are very high up in this world and, go out to a birthday party or someone's house party and, oh, look, it's that guy. Or, oh, look, I never got a chance to meet Stacey King. I really wish I did because he was such a lovely man. Here's a tribute. We are putting him in to a Death Trilogy room there in heaven because, well, he's a number 6 overall NBA draft pick, 3-time champion. All right, he rates. Here's some of what we're going to miss about Stacey King here in Chicago.
He was in our hands, baby. We dropped the bag. Oh, Lord. He could have been a bull, baby, in that dunk contest, baby. Oh, Lord. Oh, get it on here. Savage Woo, he's back. He's back. I want to be a silver fox too, baby. Before you get upset, his beard will be back by halftime. Okay? It's like a chia pet. I ain't never seen nothing like this.
I gotta get a foul call and gotta get a timeout before they got all wrapped up down there. They didn't give it to me, Jim Neighbors.
Please, no double overtime. No, you might be caught by yourself. I gotta get out of here.
We weren't doing this for our health. You could have jumped in there.
Listen, you guys were spotted in the Calamo's bar. We saw you. That was like the slowest move. I thought for a second like we were on a slow mo.
All right. Sorry about that. I just love that guy. And I just can't believe he's dead. I just can't believe that, I had to find out that this guy who I really cherish as, one of the conduits to my favorite basketball team. It's just got blindsided with that. Tuning into a White Sox game on a Sunday afternoon, the pregame show, and they open with tragic news to it now. Oh my God. All right. Oh God. All right. So I want to show you another thing. I want to show you how he was always awesome. He was drafted 6th overall by the Chicago Bulls in the 1989 NBA draft. This is college kid just drafted into the NBA, Stacey King, talking about he was supposed to go. There were rumors that he was one of the guys that could have gone number 1 overall, but he didn't. He fell to the Bulls, and we're happy that he did. Anyway, here he is. Here's Stacey King. He's like 20 years old on draft night. I mean, you could see then that he was just awesome as a human being. Here he is.
Thank you, Bob. You could have gone number 1. Instead, you go number 6. Any disappointments?
Oh, definitely not. I'm playing with one of the best players in the NBA, and I'm very fortunate to be in Chicago.
Have you talked to Doug Collins at all, the coach, lately?
No, I haven't, but I'll be anxious to hear from him.
What's it going to be like playing with Michael Jordan? You get to watch him on TV all the time?
I think it's going to be easy for me because he'll be drawing triple teams, and I'll be able to score a little bit easier than I think I will.
Your close friend and teammate Mookie Blaylock is out there. What'd you tell Mookie on your way up here?
I just told him just to relax and just let everything fall into place. He'll be somewhere, and whoever gets Mookie Blaylock will get a steal, I guarantee you.
Well, the Bulls have a couple of picks coming up. Who knows? Maybe you can still be teammates.
I hope so.
The draft will continue from New York in a moment. Please stay with us on Superstation TBS as we're live from the Felt Forum at Madison.
I mean, well-spoken, charming, smiley, just happy. Think about that. He thought there was a chance he was going number 1 overall, and he fell to 6, and he still couldn't be happier. He's like, yeah, whatever. I get to play with Michael. This is going to be fun. And it was, because for his first 3 years in the league, he won titles. This is pretty cool. Lastly, and then we'll get into the updated Death Trilogy. Lastly, I want to show you this. This was one of Stacey's best friends. This is Horace Grant, Chicago Bull legend in his own right. Horace Grant last night. This brought me to tears, and it's probably going to bring me to tears again. But Horace Grant last night talking about the loss of his very good friend, Stacey King.
Just try for yourself and for a lot of our viewers right now to put in perspective of just what Stacey meant to you, the organization, but also just the city of Chicago.
For me personally, a brother, a friend, man, this is tough, man. Brother, a friend. That makes you laugh.
Yeah, he did. He was funny.
A Conrad who would give you the shirt off his back. He was that friend, man. You can call in the middle of the night and talk to him about things. He was that guy, man. And
so let me point something out, because again, we hear this a lot when high-profile people die. People will come and talk about them, and they'll say exactly what Horace Grant here is saying. And a lot of times it might seem like they're just saying that because that's what you say when somebody dies. Horace Grant is devastated. Everything Horace Grant is saying here, he believes.
Chicago is truly going to miss him as we are.
I mean, do you think for a minute, I mean, I guess you don't know Horace Grant the way we Bulls fans know Horace Grant, but if you think for a minute that Horace Grant is the performative type who would, save up his tears to go on TV and cry on command for his friend, no. Horace Grant is a very stoic, very emotionally strong, never loses his cool. He is a brick wall of a man emotionally, physically, in all ways. And he is devastated here. This is authentic.
This is one of the toughest moments of my being here on earth, man, to have someone like that close to you pass on. It's pretty tough, real tough. And I don't usually cry. Anyone can tell you, but this moment, man, it's one of the worst. It's one of the worst.
And Horace, we truly appreciate you taking time to join us on this special to honor your brother. I'm not going to say teammate, your brother in Stacey. And I know that the emotions are running high for you as it is for so many different people, but to have you honor your friend, your brother, it means everything to us. Thank you, Horace.
Yeah, thanks, Horace, man.
Thanks, folks.
We appreciate you so much, man.
All right, there you have it. All right, the great Stacey King, gone but not forgotten. And guys, I always tell you, man, and I think this is why this one hurts us so much. Because as I always tell you, your next breath is not guaranteed. My next sentence is not guaranteed. A plane engine could fall out of the sky in the middle of me. Life is so precious, so tenuous. That's why this hurts so much. Totally unexpected. And then to learn that it's from a fall, just an accident, an everyday thing. What was he doing? Climbing on a ladder to replace a chandelier bulb? Something we do every day. And, honestly, before we learned it was a fall, my immediate thing was fucking heart attack. Because he was 6'11" and like 400 pounds. So heart attack, right? Almost heart attack. We could almost be like, oh man, well, but to have it be something as random as this, falling in your home and hitting your head on the floor and dying. That's just a reminder, man. Call your mom, call your dad, call your kids, tell your kids you love them, all of that stuff. Your next breath is not guaranteed, and we are living that moment right now in Chicago, and I think that's why people are having such a visceral reaction to the passing of Stacey King. You would think, why, he's just a color guy. Why are people getting over it? Because it came out of nowhere. It was shocking, and he was a special kind of beloved. He may not even been that good as a color guy. Like, I don't even know. Like, I'm trying to think, did we like him because he was good at color? He knew basketball, but he was more about fun. He was more about, like, he would get distracted because there was some guy wearing a funny hat in the front row. And instead of calling the game, he'd be like, well, he just ordered another hot dog. And it would be fun. It would be fun. And we loved him for it. All right. So there you have it. It's unfortunate. All right, let's talk about the Death Trilogy. Let's get y'all caught up to speed here. We do this. Stacey King absolutely goes in, but who goes in with him and who went in before him? Let's see here. Let's get y'all caught up. The last one I think we mentioned was Rob Bass, right? It takes two to make a thing go right. Boom, boom. It takes two to make it out of sight. Boom, 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 boom. I want to rock right now. I'm Rob Bass and I came to get down. All right. So that was the last one we did, right? Yeah. All right. That was Rob Bass was Death Trilogy of 2026, number 17. Rob Bass will be spending eternity in a 3-bedroom condo in the celebrity wing of heaven with Kyle Busch. That was a rough one. Kyle Busch, NASCAR driver. Good kid. Kyle Busch died on the 21st day of May. He was followed by Grizz from 30 Rock, Grizzin.com, Tracy Morgan's, two right-hand guys. He died on the 22nd day, and Rob Bass. Rob Bass also died on the 22nd day of May. So Kyle Busch, Grizz Chapman, and Rob Bass are the celebrity trilogy number 17 for 2026. All right, so that leads us into the new ones, okay? On the 25th day of May, we lost Raymond Berry, 93-year-old Hall of Fame football player, one of the guys from the golden age. When they talk about, he was a split end. I don't even think that position exists anymore. There'll never be a better split end than Raymond Berry. Died on the 25th day of May, 93 years old. Patriots, Colts, famously Colts. Johnny Unitas and all of that. Raymond Berry died on the 25th day of May. He was followed by hockey legend and Hall of Famer Claude Lemieux. Yeah, not Mario Lemieux, but Claude Lemieux. He died at 60. Suicide by hanging. He hung himself, which... Okay. Anyway, Raymond Berry, professional sports guy, and Claude Lemieux, professional sports guy. There you go. Who else goes in? Look at this. We got ourselves a natural. Is this a natural? Dennis Hull. Dennis Hull died on the 30th. Dennis Hull, Canadian ice hockey legend. He was 81 years old. So look at that. That trilogy has a Hall of Fame football player and 2 Hall of Fame hockey players, athletes. Better get the sports package in that condo. All right. Also, I wanted to mention, this person doesn't get in. I'm sorry. Doesn't get in, but their death was reported like they were a celebrity, but I'm sorry. They're not. Also on the 30th, at 69 years old, Kelly Curtis died. Kelly Curtis is the older sister of Jamie Lee Curtis. Kelly Curtis, she's not getting in, okay? Kelly Curtis is the daughter of Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh. Kelly Curtis appeared in like 2 films, tiny walk-on roles, films that her sister Jamie Lee were starring in, most notably Trading Places. Anyway, Kelly Curtis, by the way, Kelly Curtis is hotter than her sister, Jamie Lee Curtis. Kelly Curtis was hot. Kelly Curtis looked more like her mom, Janet Leigh. Anyway, Kelly Curtis died on the 30th. She doesn't get in. You can't just get in because your siblings and your parents are famous. I can't do that. Kelly Curtis doesn't get in. All right, so that death trilogy room or condo in heaven is Raymond Berry, Claude Lemieux, and Dennis Hull. All right, number 19, the 19th completed death trilogy of 2026. Who do we have here? All right, this is a pretty good one too. Okay, here we go. The 19th death trilogy. Well, Stacey King. All right, Stacey King goes in, but he's the last guy in. He died on the 7th day of June. Stacey King, we just talked about him. He goes in. All right, so who goes in with Stacey King? How great is this? Because on the 1st of June, NBA Hall of Fame player and coach Rick Adelman died. Stacey King and Rick Adelman are going to be spending the rest of their lives together and talk ball and all that stuff. That's awesome. Then they're joined, the final death trilogy, they're joined by Peebo Bryson. Peebo Bryson, singer. He died on the 2nd day of June. So we've got Rick Adelman, who died on the 1st. He was joined by Peebo Bryson, who died on the 2nd. And then, of course, Stacey King, NBA Chicago Bulls broadcaster. He died on the 7th. So there you have it. Hold on. I got to fix something really quick before I... Okay, we're not her. She doesn't make it. Okay. Hold on. Gotta fix something here. You gotta make sure that the death trilogy the edits are done precisely. Otherwise, you end up with like a weird trilogy at the end of the year where you're like, how come we only have 2 in this one? No, that doesn't stand. All right, there you have it. The last trilogy, the one that we've just completed, Rick Adelman, Peebo Bryson, and Stacey King. There you go. Let's see what celebrities die next. Moving on. What else do we have to do today? Yeah, no, we won't do that. Won't do that. Won't do that. No, won't do that. Oh, well, do I kind of want to show this? All right, I'm going to show you a piece of video. This is apropos of absolutely nothing other than it caused my 17-year-old son and I to have a hysterical laughing fit and then joke riff for like a good 20 minutes about this news story. And please, this is why I don't want to show it. It's a terrible look for he and I because we're making fun of a sad news story. But listen to the way this is worded. This was last night here locally on ABC7, WLS, the ABC affiliate, the news that came on immediately following the game. So we were watching the game and then, we're doing whatever and the news comes on and we're sitting there and we're watching the news. Let me just, I don't know, are me and my son horrible or is this legitimately funny? Like the way it's worded. Oh, really? All right. Smoke them if you got them, because they're going to make us watch a 30-second ad here for, what is this? I don't know what it is. Netflix. It's a 30-second ad for Netflix. Who still needs to get Netflix? Doesn't everybody know Netflix is an option? Netflix doesn't have to advertise. All right, here we go. Let me fast forward to it. Again, this comes to us from last night's local news here. It concerns, I'll tell you what it concerns. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right, here's the story. Some very good person, he's a good person, I'm sure. Some very good person died while riding his bike in Bridgeport, which is a neighborhood here in Chicago. It's where the White Sox play. It's a very hipster neighborhood, okay? They call it Brooklyn Port. It's like, it's like Chicago's version of the hipster area. It used to be really run down, but now a bunch of dudes with beards are making craft cocktails. That's the area that we're talking about, okay? So this guy was riding his bike and, something terrible happened. And here's the story, okay? Watch. Oh, hold on. Nope, not saved. Hold on. Wait, we'll show it to you. And again, I know my son and I are horrible people and I shouldn't be spending this much time on this story, but man, we just had so much fun. we were laughing. It was just fun. I'm telling you, I hate that it's a horrible moment, but for the rest of my life, I will remember that 20 minutes where he and I were just riffing jokes back and forth, like really dark, horrible jokes. All right, here's the story.
7-year-old boy, 2 13-year-old boys, and a 14-year-old boy were all hurt. The teenager who was arrested is now facing gun charges. Earlier, he was also facing aggravated battery charges.
Here's the story.
An emotional show of support tonight for a cycling safety advocate killed last week. Riley O'Neill was hit while riding his bike last Friday in Bridgeport. Tonight,
Okay, that's what got us to both crack up. He is a bike safety expert. He is famous for being a bike safety guy, and he died in the only way a bike safety expert guy could. He didn't practice what he preached, and he got hit by a car. All right, let's watch this story. It's terrible, but when my kid laughed first, or actually I laughed first and then my kid laughed. And then he said, I didn't think I could laugh at that. And I go, you could laugh at anything that strikes you as funny. Life is short. And so then we just started riffing. All right. So here's the story.
All hurt. The teenager who was arrested is now also facing gun charges. Earlier, he was also facing aggravated battery charges.
He was a nice
An emotional show of support tonight for a cycling safety advocate killed last week. Riley O'Neill was hit while riding his bike last Friday in Bridgeport. Tonight, dozens of his fellow riders hit the streets in his honor. ABC7's Keiko Gear.
So now I want to show you how this story builds. This is all so tone deaf. It is all just so, really? The writing of that was terrible. You shouldn't have said he was a bike safety expert and then said he died while riding his bike. That just doesn't sound like he was a very good bike safety expert. Then this is the protest. Hundreds of people on their bikes to show what? Solidarity with this guy? They decided to just lay their bikes down and lay in the street, stopping traffic. That seems dangerous and like something the bike safety expert wouldn't have advocated for.
Aaron was there.
To those who knew him, Riley O'Neal was more than a cyclist, but a force for change. Riley O'Neal rode for safer streets. Tonight, dozens within his community rode to remember.
Riley was the kind of person who made every room better when he walked into it.
A Chicago Department of Transportation employee who previously led Chicago's bike parking program. For Riley, street safety was more than a job, but a life mission.
But he died riding his bike on the street. That's like Jim Finks, right? Jim Finks, the jogger. Jim Finks was the man in America who popularized jogging. Talked about how it would extend your life and how it was great for cardio and everybody should jog. And guess what? We all around about 1977 ran out to the store and bought running shoes, and suddenly everybody's jogging because Jim Finks, and then Jim Finks drops dead at like 44 from a massive heart attack. You guessed it, while jogging. While jogging. The bike safety expert dies. Oh, that's the other thing. I didn't want to play that for you, but that was one of the things that really made my son and I just start. So, you know what? I feel like I should let them tell you how he died because it just gets worse and worse. It's like, all right, so here's how he died. He died, as my son put it, in the 1980s movie way, where you're riding a bike down the street and somebody opens their car door and he hits the car door, right? That was like one of the main bike safety things, but he got hit. So that's how he died. But actually, as the story is told on the news last night, that's not how he died. What happened was he was riding, somebody opened their door, he hit their door, he rolled into or over the street, seemingly was okay, got up dazed, and was hit by a beer truck. I'm sorry. I know it's terrible. It's terrible. But come on, it's darkly funny. That if that happened in a comedy movie to a bad guy, you'd be like, that's hysterical. Riley was not a bad guy. Riley was obviously not a bad guy. He was just he was a guy who, that was like the only picture they had of him too, where he's a guy who rides his bike in blue jeans and a button-up. Okay. I'm sure he was a wonderful man. I'm just saying, my son and I, we had such a nice time making fun of that story. We were making fun of the journalistic presentation of the story, not the tragedy that befell an innocent man. We were joking about the way they phrased it. There was a better way to put it than the way they put it. And then for them to do the detailed of, he was riding his bike on Friday night down Halsted Street when an open car door caused him to lose balance on his bicycle. He then stood up, dazed from the fall, and wandered into the street where he was hit by a beer truck. They didn't say beer truck. I had to look it up. It was a beer truck. It was a beer truck. Right. Terrible. Again, they didn't need to present the story that way. They just, okay. Let's do 3 videos. That's something we like to do every day, where I show you 3 different videos, 3 things that I'd like to riff on a little bit, things I think you'll find at least slightly entertaining. This one certainly is that. I meant to do this yesterday in the 3 vids, but did you notice we didn't do 3 vids yesterday? I totally forgot. I skipped it over. Yesterday was the 8-year, man, how quickly, 8 years. In 2 years, it'll be a decade. In 2 years, it'll be a full decade. 8 years ago yesterday, Anthony Bourdain killed himself. Anthony Bourdain was one of my favorite people. He was just, I loved his vibe. I loved his energy. I loved his outlook. I loved his shows. I loved his curiosity. I loved his edge. I loved everything about Anthony Bourdain. And the man's entire brand, his entire brand was that the rest of us were supposed to watch him and go, how do you get a life like that? This man travels to the most interesting places in the world and has incredible meals with some of the most stimulating people. How do you get a job like that? My God, he must be walking on clouds. Well, no. Even with all of that, that man killed himself. Anthony Bourdain, because of other things going on in his head, very serious stuff. You know how serious I take depression and all of that. He'd gotten to a point in his life where he made a choice. And it shocked us. I was talking about Stacey King, how we were all here in Chicago, fans of the Bulls, how shocked and horrified we were at the news of Stacey King suddenly passing at the age of 59. We all felt that way with Anthony Bourdain, admit it. When you heard it was a Friday morning, my God, I remember exactly where I was. I was at the corner of Ridgeland and Route 30 on a Friday morning. And I remember hearing it on the radio that Anthony Bourdain was dead. I couldn't believe it. How could somebody who lived a life like that take his own life? Anyway, it was 8 years ago yesterday, and I meant to memorialize it yesterday. But here's we're going to watch a little video. This is the great Anthony Bourdain's take on one of the great American experiences that any of us can have. I speak, of course, of late night dining at the Waffle House. Here is Anthony Bourdain on the Waffle House on the 8-year and 1 day anniversary of his passing. No, not his passing. I'm sorry. He killed himself. I believe, as somebody who has, dealt with depression and all that, no, stop sugarcoating it. He didn't pass. We call it that because it makes us feel better. This man chose to kill himself. Why? We don't know. But
it is indeed marvelous. An irony-free zone where everything is beautiful and nothing hurts. Where everybody, regardless of race, creed, color, or degree of inebriation, is welcomed. Its warm yellow glow, a beacon of hope and salvation, inviting the hungry, the lost, the seriously hammered all across the South to come inside. A place of safety and nourishment. It never closes. It is always, always faithful, always there for you.
Well, there you have it. Has anyone ever described a Waffle House so beautifully, so poetically? Of all the things that we can say about Anthony Bourdain, he's interesting, he's mercurial, he's, an iconoclast, all of these things. I think the thing that we don't give him enough credit for is just the brilliant and beautiful writing. He wrote all of those. He wasn't just reading a script. No, he wrote all of those poetic prose that were the signature of the Anthony Bourdain shows. He wrote those. My God, 8 years. It's an absolute shame. All right, that's the first video. Here's one I promised you. Promised you this one earlier. How not to act, right? One of the things that I always tell my son, and this is about making the right choices when those choices present themselves. You have to understand when there is a choice to be made. Some people just go instinctively and don't even realize that they bum rushed through a choice. Dealing with police. My son is 17 now. He's been driving for quite some time. Hold on. Oh, all right, never mind. I thought I heard something. I did hear something, but it's nothing I need to be concerned about. I always tell my 17-year-old son, I say, if you get pulled over, or even if you're walking down the street with some friends and you encounter a police officer in a uniform with a badge and a gun and all of the authority granted by that badge and gun, you have to act like you're in the presence of the Pope. You have to. Here's why. You got to check your ego. You got to realize, so say you get pulled over and the cop is going to write you a ticket. Don't argue with him. Don't think that you're going to change his mind. The narcissism, you understand, he's a narcissist too. He's going to be dug in. And at the end of the day, he wins if he chooses to win because he's the police officer. So any kind of a negative interaction with a police officer, you must understand that you are putting in jeopardy at the very least the next 20 hours of your life. The next 20 hours. Make that choice. Think about what happens after I tell the cop to fuck off. Think about what he can do. Now, you might feel justified saying nonsense like, well, when we go to court, this won't stand up. You'll see. Yeah, have fun in court in 6 months, because the next 20 hours of your life are going to be spent in fucking jail. Make a smart choice. Just put up with whatever the cop is saying and live to fight another day. That's what I tell my son. Here's an example. And this isn't being a supplicant. It's about understanding where the power dynamic lies and how the law and justice favors the badge. In the initial moment, the badge wins all the time. Don't go, but wait, badge, you're making a mistake here. No, the badge can do whatever the fuck the badge wants to do. So it's incumbent upon you to make sure that the badge thinks that you're a good dude. It's not that hard to be a sweet talker. It's not that hard to be, oh, officer, I'm so sorry. Hey, man, I know you put up with a lot of bull. Give him that. You got to work it. Don't let your ego tell you, I'm going to stand up to this guy, because you're going to lose. He's a cop with a badge and a gun. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. He might, hey, sure, you might be released and they might even apologize. But those hours in between are going to fucking suck for you. You have no idea. You're going to jail. They're going to give you a styrofoam cup of water and a stale donut, and you're going to sit there for 18 hours with people who are scary. Because you don't get to go to prison and sit in the cell by yourself. No, you're going to county lockup. They're going to throw you in with, the dude they just arrested for rape, who's still got that's what county is. It's all the people who are being, adjudicated. You're not in court yet. This is where they're putting you. So just don't do that. Here's a woman. This comes to us from Texas. I'm not sure where this is in Texas. Hurst. Oh my God, look at this. Hurst, Texas. This is a woman who absolutely does not know how to behave when there is a police officer who has just pulled her over. Is it right? No, it's not right. But in that moment, they are an authoritarian. They are a dictator, and they might be a bad cop. And if they're a bad cop, they'll really fuck you over. They will really. You are completely at their mercy. So act accordingly. Do not poke the bear and do not be a jerk off. This woman, well, she never got that speech from me. Here's Hurst, Texas.
Wait, stop, please. Wait, please, stop, stop.
All right, here's your copy of the citation. As far as the bills, you don't want to take it?
No.
Well, yes, you're going to take it because it's your citation.
I don't want it.
That's your citation.
Ego. See that right there? That woman could not check her ego. He was giving her a ticket. She didn't want the ticket. So he tosses the ticket in the car and she throws it out. The minute she threw it out the window, I'm like, that's ego. You just fucking take that ticket and you be on your way. And then you argue it in court, because now you've just created a bigger situation, because this cop is probably an egomaniac and you've just thrown the baby. You've just said that his authority is bullshit and that you don't acknowledge it. And now he's reacting like the immature bitch that he is. And we've got a whole fucking situation. Because nobody could make a strong emotional choice.
That's littering. Step out of the car.
No, don't do that.
Wait, stop.
One more time.
Wait, please, stop, stop.
All right, here's your copy of the citation. As far as the bills, you don't want to take it?
No.
Well, yes, you're going to take it because it's your citation.
I don't want it.
That's your citation. That's littering. Step out of the car.
No.
All right, so now the cop's ego's like, that's littering. Oh, yeah, because when someone litters, you must rip them out of the car and shove their face into the cement. This is an ego play. And this is what you've got to avoid. You've got to avoid the ego play on the part of the cop. The cop has all the authority. This woman is stupid. This woman is an emotional infant who, again, just made a bad choice because her ego was like, don't stand for this. Throw that ticket in his fat face. He's a cop. He's not a fucking plumber. He's not a guy at the UPS store. He's a fucking cop.
You're going to take it because it's your citation.
I don't want it.
That's your citation. That's littering. Step out of the car.
No, don't do that. Fuck off my car. I'm not stepping out.
Mom, chill out.
I'm not just crawling. Yes, crawling. I'm not typing.
All right, so I don't know what this bullshit is. This seems to be trying to make a case that she's fine and the cop is bad. Quite frankly, they're both not very good at this, whatever it is. Says, here the officer already had her ID and the power to issue the ticket. Escalating to an arrest over a discarded piece of paper isn't about public safety anymore. It's an abuse of discretion. Of course it is. Of course it is. But she forced that situation. She forced this cop to expose himself as a shitty cop, as a jerk cop who will use his authority, which all of them can. So why do you want to get to the point where they're going to have to decide if that's who they are or not? Don't push them to that point.
Please shut up, Mom. Mom, please shut up. Mom,
Don't
please shut
touch
up.
me. I'm
Mom,
not
please
stepping
shut
out of
up.
shit. Call
Step
your
out.
motherfucking
I am the
supervisor.
supervisor.
You're not the supervisor.
Yes, I am.
Call your
I am the
supervisor.
corporal.
A
Step
supervisor.
out.
I'm not
Step
stepping
out.
out of
Mom,
nothing.
What does she think is going to see? This is the thing right now. She is pure ego and narcissism. This is not going to happen to her because she doesn't want it to. This is a complete violation of the laws of civilized society. A cop is giving her an order. We are supposed to adhere to what the cop says. She is not having it. She is the one in the wrong here. He is also in the wrong. Don't get me wrong. He's a bad cop. But I am trying to show you how this could have been avoided.
Mom, chill out, please chill out. Mom,
Get
please
your
chill
hand
out.
off me.
We know there's bad cops out there, and we know they have this power. We can avoid this situation.
Get your hand off me. I will step
Step
out
out.
when the supervisor.
I
I'm
am
not
the
stepping out of
supervisor.
nothing.
Ma'am.
Get your hand off
Tanisha,
me. Get your hand
I'm not
off
letting
me.
go.
You littered. You
I
dropped
am
the
not.
ticket, not
I
me.
put the ticket in
No,
the car
you dropped the
because
ticket,
that's your
not
copy.
me. You dropped the ticket, not me. Get your hands off me.
Take the ticket
You're
and
touching
go.
me. Give me the
All right.
ticket.
Yes,
You're
do
touching
that.
me forcibly. You're holding me too
Because
tight, and you're
just-
being
just
out of
get
line.
the ticket.
Y'all see
Just
this,
get the
right?
ticket. Sir, I'm sorry. Can she just get the ticket?
No, you stop.
That's her teenage son that's in the car with her. She's behaving this way in front of her son.
Why are you holding my arm like
Because
this?
I gave you the
Why?
ticket,
No, you
then
did
you
not.
proceeded
You
to
dropped
throw
the
it.
ticket,
I
not
put it in
me.
your
I
car.
told you I did.
I wonder if this kid in a few years, when he's out there driving in the world, I wonder if this kid is going to think that this is the appropriate way to say no when you don't want to accept a ticket.
Not one.
proceeded to
You
throw it out of
dropped
the car.
it. You dropped it. You're doing too much. I'm not afraid of you. Get your
That's
hand
fine,
off
but
of
I'm
me.
asking
You're
you to step out
holding
of
me
the car.
forcibly for no reason.
Because you need to
Get
step out
your
of the car.
fucking hands off
Step
me.
out of the car.
No, why am I stepping out of the
Is
car
there
for?
anything I can do to get you to comply?
Look, Mom, he just said take the ticket and we
comply.
can leave. He
You
said
threw the
take the
car
ticket and we
No,
can
I
leave.
did not. You did that.
He said
You
take
threw
the
the
ticket and
ticket
we
at
can
I
me.
gave it to you so
You
you
threw
could
the
leave,
ticket at
and then
me.
you grabbed it
Okay,
and threw it out.
give me the
It's
ticket.
on your phone video.
Give me the ticket.
No,
Give me the
we're
ticket.
past that.
Okay.
You're under arrest. Step
For
out of the
what?
car, littering.
Okay.
She's under arrest. That ship has sailed. She is under arrest. And no matter what she does at this point, it's just going to make it worse. He's already decided she's arrested. So now she's going to fight a cop.
Step out of the car.
No, I'm not.
You're under arrest.
No, when
Yes, ma'am.
when your colonel gets
No,
here,
we have
then I will
beyond that.
step out.
Step
I'm not
out.
getting out of the car. I'm with
Step out.
my child, and I'm not
I
doing
understand
that.
you're with
Call
your
your father
child.
right now.
Step out of the car.
I'm not.
Step
I'm
out
not.
of the
I'll
car.
step out when another officer gets here. I'm not
Step
stepping out.
out.
I don't trust you. You're holding me too strong, and I don't
Because
trust you.
I don't
You
trust
don't
you
have
not
to hold
to.
me like I'm not going anywhere. Where am I going
I
to
will
go?
stop holding
I'm not
you if
going to
you
go
step out of the
anywhere.
car.
I'm not stepping out of the car.
You need to
Call
step
your
out of the
colonel, and
car.
I will get out of the car.
This is
You're
resisting
holding me.
arrest.
I'm not resisting arrest.
Because you're not
What am I
answering
under
my
arrest
order.
for? What am I
Littering.
under arrest for? I didn't litter. You
You threw
did
the
that.
ticket
No,
out the
I did not.
window.
You did that. You did that. It's all on camera.
You're
So
correct.
when your colonel gets here, then I will step out. I have my child with me.
I understand.
I don't know if you call it, she's claiming that he threw the ticket. We saw her clearly. He handed her the ticket and her driver's license as one thing. She took the combination ticket and driver's license, and she grabbed only the driver's license and then flung the ticket out the window. That's what we saw. That's what happened. And that is what she's denying that she did here now.
Not getting out on camera.
You're
So
correct.
when your colonel gets here, then I will step out. I have my child with me.
I am
I'm
the
not getting
corporal.
out.
And she also has a camera mounted perfectly for this interaction, which makes me wonder if she's just been grinding for this kind of thing for a while. Like, did she get a camera positioned this way? You know, most people who have these cameras, they're looking out the front window. They're recording what's in front of you. She's obviously, you know, anticipating some kind of moment with a cop. Maybe she went into this looking to be difficult because she knew that it would be recorded and then it might go viral, because this is not being released from people who are saying that she did anything wrong. This is being amplified and promoted on social networks by people who are saying that, look at how awful this cop is. Well, I'm here to tell you the cop kind of sucks, but so does she. So does she.
You have a supervisor, okay?
I am the
so when your
supervisor on
supervisor
duty.
gets here,
He
then
is
I
not-
will step
I am
out of
the
the car.
highest ranking
Call
supervisor.
someone else
I don't
to
have
come
anyone
here.
else.
There is someone else.
Not right now.
There is someone
We
else.
need to
Let me
step
call
out of the car.
911.
Stop.
Get your fucking.
Wait, please, sir, stop. Stop, wait, stop. Mom, chill out, Mom. Wait, stop, sir. Please stop. Please stop, please stop. Wait, stop, sir. Stop, please. Wait, please, stop. No, stop, please, I'm scared, stop. Wait, stop, please. Wait, please, stop, sir. Wait, stop, please.
Jesus. All right, there you go. And of course, the next 20 hours of her life absolutely sucked because it was terrible. And all right, how not to behave. All right. Nobody likes being pulled over, okay? It's a shitty situation, but when you see the cop approaching, check your attitude, check your privilege, check your ego, and just sit there and do the right thing. You know what the right thing to do is? Yes, officer. Yes, sir, officer. No, sir, officer. Whatever. Yes, ma'am, officer. Whatever it is. Because ultimately, guys, this isn't about what is existentially right, okay? This isn't about an abusive police force. For me, this is about how do I survive the next 10 hours? What are the next 10 hours of my life look like if I pull this stunt? And I'm sorry, I want to go home. I just want to go home. I don't want to pay. I don't want to have to pay an attorney like $2,000 over the next 3 months. No, thank you. Come on. Can all be avoided. All right, now here's the last one. This isn't really a video, I don't think. I think it's just a picture, right? Yeah, it's a picture, but we'll see it because it just it's embarrassing. It is. This is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And I just don't know what to say if you don't think it's embarrassing. I just don't know. If you look at this and you go, what's wrong with that? Then you probably have really fucking tacky furniture. How about that? You probably dress like a fucking douche and you have really bad furniture because you obviously have no taste, okay? Taste. This is about elegance and sophistication and look at this. Yeah, look at that. Look at the White House. Look at the people's house. Looks like a fucking carnival rode through town and set up shop in the Target parking lot. The hell is this, man? This is dumb. I'm so tired of us just lowering the standards. Again, this is a joke from 2015 that a comedian in a club might have made with the prospect of Donald Trump being president. Oh, what's next? We're going to have UFC fights at the White House? Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are now. Fucking President Burrito Supreme. Everybody, this is idiocracy. This is what it looks like when you lower the standards. The White House is supposed to represent all that is great and glorious about the United States. It is the people's house. It is not overly extravagant like, the palace at Versailles or Buckingham Palace. It is the people's house. It is elegant. It is sophisticated. And it is not over the top. Not over the top. That is not who we are as people. Look at our White House. God damn, that is ugly. That is just so embarrassing. It looks like they set up a fucking tilt-a-whirl. All right, there you go. That's 3 things, ladies and gentlemen. 3 things. 3 videos that I wanted to get into today. One more time, I do want to thank the people who made today's show possible. That's right. We are calling them today's Pledge Week heroes. Thank you to today's Pledge Week heroes, Peter and Barney. They dropped a little tip in either the Venmo or the Cash App, and they're going to help this show continue. Talk for regular people, not overly politically right, not overly politically left. I like to think that we're somewhere in the middle, acting like normal people who know what's right and wrong. So thank you. Thank you to our Pledge Week heroes, of course, Peter and Barney. And don't forget Tracy D. Tracy D came in before. That's okay. She's still a big player here. So thank you to today's Pledge Week heroes. If you want to join them and have your name added to that list, please drop a little something in either the Venmo or the Cash App. Help this show reach its goals this month. All right. The last thing I'm going to share with you here is Can't Beat Fun at the Old Ballpark, or as I like to call it, CBFA TOBP. That's right. Can't beat fun at the old ballpark. Every day I try and show you an example of the fun we can have going out and patronizing America's pastime, baseball, whether it's at the major league level, whether it's at the college level, little league. Seriously, I opened my door. I've told you this before. I opened my front door, and just to the left, I'm 2 houses off the corner. I looked to my left. The corner is a massive community baseball complex. There's probably like 15 baseball fields. There's a high school football stadium. It's like a massive area. I can walk out my front door, walk 50 yards, and just sit there and watch high school. It's so nice. Little League baseball on Saturday. There was a bunch of Little League kids doing practice, and it was so fun. Anyway, I love baseball. I love what baseball means to me. I love what baseball represents to American society. It is once our pastime. It is slow. It is deliberate. It is strategic, and it has a lot to do with luck. That's baseball. That's baseball. Can't beat fun at the old ballpark. Here, let's go out to, where's this idiot from? This is a real idiot. We're going to go to Major League Baseball. I want to see what Cincinnati Reds. Of course. I am telling you. Do you know anybody from Cincinnati? Do you know anybody from the Cincinnati metropolitan region of Ohio? These people combine all the worst characteristics of people from Ohio with people from Kentucky. It is no sense. Seriously, the Cincinnati area, that region, it's not good, not smart people. And Cincinnati as a city kind of reflects that. Is there a more mid-major city in America than Cincinnati? Is there? Have you ever been? Of course you haven't. No, you've never been to Cincinnati unless you worked for a company that had headquarters there. Nobody travels to Cincinnati. They don't have anything. I traveled to Cincinnati. I was there. I went to a Reds game. I went to a Reds game at the old stadium that was built in like the 1970s. It was awful. It looked like a giant Logan's Run set. Three Rivers. It was the old, was it Riverfront or Three Rivers? Back when I was a kid, the Pirates and the Reds played at 2 stadiums, both with similar names. One was Three Rivers. The other was Riverfront. Both of them are gone. I'm not even sure which one I was at. But anyway, I was partying at the University of Kentucky, which is in Lexington. I had a friend that went there, so we drove down to the University of Kentucky and we partied. And on the way home, we were passing through Cincinnati, and there was a Reds game. We're like, you want to go to the Reds game? So we went to the Reds game. It was a Reds-Dodgers game. Paul O'Neill era, Reds. Paul O'Neill, because I remember that because Paul O'Neill had a walk-off homer. It was a good game. We were there for a good game. Anyway, Cincinnati ain't great. This comes to us from a Cincinnati Reds game. Can't beat fun at the old ballpark. Look at this. This is a parent. This is someone from the Ohio, Kentucky region. This is a dad making a choice at a Major League Baseball game while on television. Here we go. Watch this. Incredible. Can't beat fun at the old ball. Oh, nope, not sharing it. Sorry. I thought I had it ready to share. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, there we go. Okay, can't beat fun at the old ballpark. Here we go. This is comes to us from the Cincinnati Reds. This is a dad.
Cardinals the lead. It got wedged there.
I see what's going on there. The ball has wedged. Somebody is reaching down to try and get the ball that seems to be wedged on the high part of the wall.
Just over the wall.
Oh,
look
at that. Look at that bright idea. Dad's like, hey, you know what I'm going to do for a baseball? This dad thought this was an idea. I love this guy. This is the security. And look at all these other people around Dad. Everybody around Dad knows that this is fucked up. Why are you making this decision, Dad? This guy right here, you got to watch this guy. This is Red Security, who's like, what the fuck are you doing, you idiot? And then you got to watch Dad's response. Dad has no fucking clue what's wrong with what he just did. What's wrong with what I did? What? All right, I'm sorry. Like, you see him like that. Jesus, man. Somebody call the freaking authorities. Okay, probably not call the authorities. But this is a dad making a completely idiotic...
Cardinals the lead. It got wedged there just over the wall. So that dude's going to sacrifice his son. It's a different method.
Look at him. The dad's like, what? What do we do? And the kid understandably has no idea that that's wrong, but dad's like, what? What did I do? Are you telling me? Oh, you're telling me that you wouldn't do that? Is that what dad's saying?
Sacrifice his son. It's a different method.
And this guy, I hope to God that this guy is saying, what the fudge are you doing? What is wrong with you? I hope that this guy's tone towards the father is making the father feel really small, because the father doesn't know what he did that was so wrong that is getting this response from people, because the father's an idiot. One more time.
Oh, that dude's going to sacrifice his son. It's a different method. And it's a Reds fan, too.
Of course it is.
I had both hands on him. Using the same.
That's like, what? What did I do wrong?
Got wedged there just over the wall.
And I got to be honest. All right, look, if we're doing this, we know we shouldn't be doing this. We know we shouldn't. But if we are doing it, the kid's not really helping. The kid's not doing a great job. Hooking his arm here, he's got to get his arm off there. He's got to get as much length as he can to get this ball. Dad looks like he has the strength to maybe pull this off, but the kid hooking his arm here, this is why the kid's scared. That's right, kid. You're not built for this. So look at the kid is hanging onto the wall. He's too scared. If the kid would just let go, he would get so much more extension. He might be able to pick it up. That's right. I'm saying the kid failed in this operation, not the dad. Look, the operation from the beginning was a bad operation. We should have never okayed it. But since we're doing it, it's the kid who fucked it up. The reason it didn't work is because the kid's a little scaredy.
That dude's going to sacrifice his son. It's a different method. And it's a Reds fan, too.
What did I do? Look at the kid. Oh, my God. Hold on, wait.
So that dude's going to sacrifice his son.
Hold on. Look at this kid.
Different method.
Look at the look this kid is giving this kid. This kid has no idea why they're in trouble. No idea. He's a kid.
And it's a Reds.
Is Tattoo Lady outraged? Or is she like, that's fucking cool? Tattoo Lady should be outraged. Any woman around here should be outraged.
Fan, too. I had both hands on.
Yeah, this is my favorite. Look at me, exhales. He's like, I don't understand what I did. What did I do? The kid's like, that was cool. We got attention and stuff. Now the dad knows he's an asshole. The dad's sitting here. He's like, oh, apparently that was on TV and it didn't go over well. I'm an asshole.
Using the same.
Can't beat fun at the old ballpark. I'm telling you, people don't know how to behave. I don't get it. That guy went, there's a $3 ball. I don't know what a baseball costs. There's a $3 ball that I really want. Hey, kid, and then he dangles like he thought that was okay. I don't get it. I'll never get it. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. We'll be back tomorrow with another day. Every day around about noon o'clock, we like to put together all the hot topics and current events. Let's be honest, the stuff that I'm interested in. And I present it to you in an unfiltered stream of consciousness, absent of any sort of political undertones or agenda. We just talk like regular people. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes we're right. Anyway, we do it every day around about noon. Hope to see you back here again tomorrow. And remember, as I always urge, please stay neighborly.